Hello, everybody. Welcome to Frame Trap. This episode, I'm joined by the glamorous Ian Hink.
Hello.
The glamorous Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
And me, your
the
host.
ever glamorous.
the here, Ben Moore. This is going to be maybe the last thing that we shoot before GOTY.
Oh.
Yeah. GOTY discussions, I guess you should say.
GOTY deliberations.
Deliberations, yeah. How are you feeling about this year? How are you feeling about 2020 deliberations?
Before recently, I didn't have a horse that I was really gonna die on a hill for, and now I have one.
Nice.
I feel like it only happened for a split second in my mind, but I thought you were talking about actually owning a horse for a second.
Nice.
I did briefly own a horse once.
I could see that. Do you want to race horses together?
To my brother,
let's race horses together.
Sorry, Blue, what were you saying?
Our horse belonged to my brother technically growing up.
You had a horse?
Yeah.
I was just joking. I never had a horse.
He actually did have a horse.
I've got aunts that have horses.
Yeah,
but again, it was my brother's. It was mean. It got out, and then my parents would have to go get it out of the neighbors' orange groves and stuff. And
Dude, the adventures of young Daniel Bloodworth coming to a Netflix near you.
Yeah. Orange groves.
What do you want to say what your horses are for deliberations, or you want to keep that in your pocket?
Let's keep it a Seacrest. It's more fun that way, but I bet people...
I'm pretty sure I'm going to be playing his horse the next couple of days.
I bet people have a bunch of wrong guesses, and then some people would be right.
I feel like I was so locked in, and it might end up still being the same thing, but there have been... I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna be a more contentious GOTY deliberation than I thought it would be, I think.
Yeah, I mean... Totally what you were saying about not having a horse in the race. That's totally kind of where I'm at. Where that's cool. That would be cool. That would be cool. That would be cool. There hasn't been anything that really has grabbed me to that degree.
Yeah.
So
I feel a little less intense for GOTY this year than I did last year.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason for that, and I'm really okay with it. I understand that this is how these things go, but there are just certain games I feel like that I'm into that no one else is going to go to bat for, and it's just not as much fun.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, going to bat for things by yourself because you're I just want to say this. Okay, now you can kill it. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm also. It's funny because I kind of have to pass the baton to Damiani for soundtrack this year because I made this list of to-do list of all these soundtracks I want to listen to. And I didn't get to listen to them. Things didn't go the way I thought they would. But Damiani has. So I was like, okay, I'll try to listen to the stuff.
What's hilarious about that is the soundtrack of the year that Damiani would pick versus the soundtrack of the year that Bloodworth would pick, I think are two very different soundtracks.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think they might be more on the same page.
Really? Huh?
I feel like Blood and I are usually on the same page as well when it comes to soundtrack of the year. You really had my back for Nier, and I won't forget that. But speaking of Game of the Year, Bloodworth, you've been posting some Twitter updates. You've been in the thick of Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. And
Yeah,
I'm really
finally.
Excited. I'm really excited to talk to you about it.
Yeah. I've played most, but not all, of the other Souls games. I haven't played Demon Souls. Whatever dumb reason,
Hopefully
never finished Bloodborne.
Wait, what?
All right.
That's got your name in the title.
You never want to say this because then people will ask you about it until it happens, and maybe it'll fall through the cracks or something. But if you just saying you can put this in your pocket. This is a put this in your pocket idea. If you ever want to stream all of Demon Souls, I'm down. Seriously, I would love for you to play Demon Souls.
The servers are off now, though, aren't they?
They threatened to turn them off, and then they
didn't. But that happened multiple times.
It happened multiple times where they said they were going to turn it off, and then they didn't because Dark Souls was so popular. I guess I don't know if they're still going or not at this point.
Even if they're offline, though, I still there'd be some huge stuff that you'd miss. But
because I think some of the online stuff and that is probably more significant than pretty much anything else, right?
I mean, there's a lot of... It's a significant game, I would say.
There are two really major things you'd be missing out on, kinda.
Yeah.
And then a few like smaller things that are awesome but not necessary.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the kind of thing where even if you miss that stuff, that game is still amazing.
Like
Right.
you could play that through and you wouldn't realize unless someone explained it to you what you were missing.
Yeah.
Which would be fine. But hey, maybe Blue Point is putting out a PS5 Demon Souls and
That's
then
what we're
everything will
hoping.
be fine.
And then, yeah, what blood wants, blood gets.
Yeah.
There
And
we
then
go.
we'll still have to not understand world tendencies.
But that is an interesting thing, though, with Sekiro, because it doesn't have any of that, at least to the point I've seen. I feel like I've gotten a pretty decent way into the game.
Yeah.
There's like not messages on the ground or any shadows floating around other than just NPCs. I got into this like misty forest area with some ghost peoples.
Yeah.
So saying that it doesn't have that online stuff, and also coming from the perspective of having played a lot of these style games before, do you feel like Sekiro is special and different enough for you personally? Like, is it reaching the highs that people have been talking about throughout this year?
Yeah, I think it is, but it's in different ways, right? Because one of the things, and I think one of the things that I was like hesitant about with Sekiro going in is just that it's like your character is your character, you know, like that's, you know, and I've always, you know, enjoyed the flexibility of Dark Souls of like finding a new weapon and that kind of like, okay, let me screw around with this thing and see how long I want to use it, and then inevitably I go back to my fireballs and my mace. But you know,
Yeah, you were always big on faith builds, right? In Souls.
I think I did Faith in 2.
Okay, that's what I remember then.
Yeah, but yeah, I was more pyromancy
Okay.
in general. 3
Good old
was
pyromancy.
pyromancy for sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
Pyromancy is real good
and then there was
in Dark Souls 1.
yeah, and then I got screwed out of it. A lot of the upgrades in Dark Souls 1 and basically became kind of more of a generic guy because my NPCs, you know, the shops basically were closed before I had gotten many of those upgrades.
Uh-huh.
But I was able to
That'll
like
happen.
really utilize it in 3, and there's there's like one final boss. I remember being a big deal on stream because it was like this is going to be the last stream no matter what. And there was one final boss that like I kind of had to like respec and like rethink everything just to be able to beat it.
You did this on stream.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3. Remember the bets?
Oh yeah.
I had to do the whole game on
Yeah.
stream.
In
Yeah.
costume?
Yeah, well,
Right.
thankfully I was able to like negotiate the costume down to the first and the last days of the stream. But
So let's get back to Sekiro.
Yeah,
now. So you mentioned that it is you're kind of enjoying it in different ways, and you were concerned about it, just your character being your character. And there is some flexibility in there, of course. With you do have some decisions to make, but I get what you're saying. How are you finding the combat overall?
yeah, it's one of those things where it's just about it's just about learning. It feels like one of those games where like you've got to expect to die just to figure out what the heck is going on in a lot of cases, and yeah, I think the most significant boss that I just defeated was Genichiro. So
that fight was a high for me. I don't know if you
On the
felt the
roof?
same way.
yeah.
Just because of, there's something about two swordsmen squaring off that's always great, but how that fight ends and how just kind of spectacular it is great. I mean, there are a lot of spectacular fights in Sekiro, but that one kind of has a twist at the end that's pretty radical.
And I do kind of like even though Sekiro feels a little bit more directed at first, there's still like this element of, am I even supposed to be here right now?
Right.
And like the first boss that I even fought was the drunk in the memory.
Yeah.
And then like I was, my first couple rounds against Lady Butterfly was before I'd gotten even any upgrades of any form whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so like I uploaded a video of that to people, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, but you can do it without snap seeds, et cetera, et cetera." Like, yeah, but I'll wait till I actually like have some health, and some other upgrades and some other abilities and understand things a little bit better before I go back. But I did beat her last night.
Nice.
I don't know how it's been for you. I feel like I've been kind of in the fortunate position where a lot of these From Software Souls-S games, I've gotten to play before release, and that's been really nice because you haven't had like people figuring it out or giving you advice, and I think that in a way that kind of makes the journey a little bit more special for me. Has been kind of sharing the journey on social media. Has there been those downsides where something is ruined for you, or has it been positive and people have been just helpful?
Yeah, I don't know about anything being ruined, but there were like 2 prosthetics that I hadn't had yet that people were like, "Oh, that works. This thing really works well on that guy." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen that, so I don't know." But it wasn't like that big of a deal. I still actually haven't mastered either of those in a sense that like I know when to use this in a real way. But one thing that was funny is, well, the first thing that was really great with sharing it though was in the Harada Estate memory, there's this pagoda that has like this ninja guy who is essentially just a normal enemy. But he's really fast. He's got a lot of moves. He's got a lot to try to outthink.
At that point in the game, he's a much higher tier enemy than you're used to.
Yeah. And so like I spent a long time working at him, and I had like this annoying moment where like I looked up a guide and they're like, "Oh yeah, if you just jump off the waterfall and then you can go up and backstab him." Like that's not what I'm trying to learn here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I actually did kill him like accidentally once where like I fell off the cliff and then I went back up and like, where is he? And then I get the reward from him dying and like, oh. Yeah. It's like one of those Souls moments.
Yeah, you gotta love.
But he does respawn, so I was like, no, I'm gonna try again. And then I basically went back to my pyromancy roots and learned that like, oh, if I like get this guy burning, I can get some hits on him before he recovers. And I essentially beat him that way by just like dodging and burning. And then when I uploaded that video, then people were like, you can do the Makiri counter and you can do the hop, and those were both things that at that point in the game, I was like, oh, those sound like cool little tricks.
Oh,
that they sounded like optional little tricks and it wasn't until like then it was like, oh, this is stuff I've got to learn. So I like actually went back to him again and like basically practiced until I figured out the timing on how to use those things. And then of course it's like the basic bread and butter of how you fight guys.
I feel like Makiri counter is the least optional skill of any video game ever.
Yeah, I mean like technically yes, but I feel like where they place it and how they throw the enemies at you, like you kind of just I don't know. I feel like there's been a good number of people that have played Sekiro where they haven't picked up on that, or that I've seen, I feel like, on social media. But I felt like it was pretty obvious. Maybe it's not as obvious as I thought, but I don't know.
I was banging my head against the wall against that guy in white with the spear
for
a while before someone was like, well, do you have Makiri counter? And I was like, what's that?
Yeah, I had unlocked it before then, and I had practiced it with the guy in the shrine, but it just was like one of those things that, like I said, it just felt like a cool thing you could do. I didn't catch how essential it was going to be.
There's so many things in the game that
it makes a few bosses like easier. Not easy, but easier.
But you were talking about the variety in other From Software games that you could do with builds, and I feel like a complaint that I've seen levied against Sekiro again and again is it's like, oh, I feel like fights are kind of just a lot of the same, where it's just like you learn their attacks and you parry them, and there's this repetition, and I'm not enjoying it as much. Do you feel that way in Sekiro?
I think I'm just like not naturally as good enough to like get to that point, because I just I have to put in a lot more effort and more rounds to like really get some of that stuff down. Yeah, and it's kind of this like frustrating pattern sometimes of like I'll go into it and just like through basic reactions like feel like I do pretty well my first couple of rounds, and then as I'm starting the learning process, I'm actually start doing worse. Yeah, because I'm like trying to anticipate things.
Sure.
And then with Genichiro, there was one thing where I was like, I wasn't getting the counter, and I'm like, well, consistently. And at first, I was like getting it all the time, and I'm like, why am I missing this sometimes? And I found out that it was just because like I just wasn't deflecting with the right timing.
Sure.
And so since I wasn't deflecting the move before the counter, then I was just wide open for when he stabbed me. So,
Ian, how would you rate Sekiro combat compared to previous From Software titles?
I'm kind of in Blood's boat as well. Like, obviously, Sekiro is super tight, immaculately crafted combat. But for me personally, I also do like the variety and trying out different weapons and stuff. For me, Bloodborne really is the best of both worlds, where it's fast and aggressive. I really like the health, like, take-back kind of mechanic that's in Bloodborne. And for me, forced visceraling does get a little samey, personally. Like, it makes... I know it isn't like this, but it made Sekiro feel sort of like a boss rush more than a Souls game to me. And I mean, obviously, it's not it's different. It's a different game. They were going for very different things. But like my favorite aspect of the Souls games is always more on the exploration side, the lore side, and the bosses are just like things in the way of me exploring more, you know? Typically, I mean, obviously the bosses are a huge fun element too, but like, yeah, Sekiro, because of that, felt like it had just a bunch of bosses in it.
I feel like you and I are the inverse of that, because bosses are...
They're like your favorite.
One of my favorite things in video games. And I really like timing-based combat in games where you have to learn a pattern and do it at just the right moment in order to succeed. Like, I think like Mega Man has a lot of that as well, and I love that series. And Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, like all of these games have very like dexterous. You've got to get the timing down. You have to be a master of both offense and defense, depending on what game we're talking about. And so I think I really responded to that in Sekiro. But I also kind of to Blood's point, Blood, I think you touched on this. I do think the world design in Sekiro is pretty spectacular. Like, I do feel like it wasn't just like a bunch of the same from beginning to end. I felt like the different areas that I was in were necessitating a different approach and giving me different challenges.
Well, and the grappling hook just changes everything compared to other Souls games, like other FromSoft games, because it's like being able to just go up, like jumping aside, like the grappling hook. Like, I'm thinking Ashina's Castle is just like bonkers for a FromSoft game, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, and the other thing that makes a huge difference is just the lack of stamina for movement.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's like, because you were talking about timing-based stuff. Like, I've always liked dodging more than blocking. So I, like, for me, Blades of Mercy and just dodging and then scooting in, hitting, and getting out again, that's like my favorite way to fight in games. And Sekiro, there's a lot of that, but it's also a lot of, like, you have to deflect, you have to parry.
You have to parry,
You have to. And I've never been, like, overly great at that, but Sekiro definitely was a master course in it.
Right.
Yeah, well, what was funny is the most contentious video I put up, I basically figured out that, like, oh, well, now that I don't have stamina, there's this one guy in Ashina Castle right before Genichiro who does like this like quick like devil swipe thing with his sword, but I realized like I can just start sprinting and like he can't get me in time if I'm sprinting around him.
Yeah.
And so I was basically doing what you're saying is like I would sprint in a circle around him. When he swung his sword, I'd get him in the back, and then, you know, I just kept doing that. And people were like,
so funny.
Like, no, you weren't learning the lesson you were supposed to learn there. I'm like, I found an opening and I hit him, you know? Like, that's what I did.
The lesson, I guess, being you can deflect multiple times in a row in quick succession, I guess. But yeah, that part was a stumbling block for me. He's the guy before you go on the roof right after the save point, right? Yeah, that guy was tough.
I am curious. I'd love to know how the final boss goes for you.
Yeah.
So when you get there,
I'm anxious to hear about that as well, and a few other parts.
Yeah, I don't think you've gotten quite yet to. I don't think it's like an exceptionally difficult part, but it's a big crazy moment that I'm excited. I hope it hasn't been spoiled for you because it's one of the most talked about segments. In Sekiro.
I don't think it has. Most likely, yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious which part you're talking about. Well, we can't talk about it with us.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there were 2 words that popped into my head that I could drop, but just for blood, like more so than anything else, I want to save that. I want to give you a little present experience. I don't want to ruin it for you.
I wonder which ending you'll do.
Sure. Yeah, that's the other thing that's weird about this because I feel like the story is more straightforward than usual.
Well,
and at this point,
up to the point that you're at.
Yeah.
It kind of branches out right where you're.
But then
at.
I did sort of catch on that, like I talked to the surgeon in the abandoned dungeon, and like, I don't think I want to help you. Like, and I actually looked. That's one of those ones where I like looked up the wiki. I'm like, what's going on with this dude?
Yeah.
Because actually I thought his request was more simple than it actually was.
You have to be in certain places and talk to him after certain things. Yeah, it's kind of weird.
And so like I just tried to lure the enemy that was like out front of there.
That's what I tried to do first too.
And it's like, you won't walk past this door. Come on.
That was the first thing I tried to do too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ian,
hey,
I'm a little jealous of you because you've been playing a game that I wish I was still playing, and I'm not, and I haven't for a long time, despite it being excellent. And that's Super Mario Maker 2.
Oh, yeah.
A game that I feel like, and maybe this is wrong, but I just don't see that many people talking about it in the way that Mario Maker 1 kind of happened.
I guess the way I see most people engaging with it is like YouTube videos of level, like, oh, look at this crazy level design, like that kind of stuff. There's a lot of that. And in the community, it seems like it's a big hit as far as I can tell.
I think what I'm trying to say is I think the Super Mario Maker 2 community is large and enthusiastic. I just mean in like a very general video game playing audience sense.
I guess the novelty of it existing just as what it is isn't new anymore.
Right.
So like it was a given. Like people assumed we were going to get one on the Switch because it was so like obvious that it would be perfect for the Switch. And so we did, and so everyone's like, okay, yeah, that's good. But oh man,
yeah,
it's
I think
so good.
saying it as a given is I think it's kind of hits the nail on the head because it's out there, it's popular, people make levels and share levels, but it is just sort of taken for granted. It's not seen as something like new or special in any particular way. I think for the most part,
this is one of my biggest fears about our GOTY deliberations is that Mario Maker 2 will be overlooked. I guess I'll have to remember to bring it up myself because I love it.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say overlooked, do you mean like talked about it all, or are you like hoping it's winning, or?
I mean, there's one category I think it head and shoulders is above the competition personally, but
what category is that?
Platformer.
Interesting.
Quote unquote platformer. But
the
I forget what else
I
we
would
got
want
in there,
to like just prop up because I think it's really good is Ukulele and the Impossible Air, and I'm sure there's stuff I'm forgetting. But
yeah, and I mean, like, we have several nominations or pre-nomination nominees. I don't know how.
Sure.
There's a bunch on the spreadsheet.
We've got suggested nominees, and then we'll whittle it down to a top 5 and all that fun stuff. But
yeah, I don't know. For me personally, that's my pick for that category. Personally, and just because like it has a pretty decent story, whatever, campaign that was kind of fun. But just the breadth and depth of stuff you can do in this game is pretty wild. And this new Link DLC, free DLC that they put in it, changes the game in much more dramatic ways than I expected them to do, you know?
I feel like, sorry, I just wanted to mention it because you touched on it. And I feel like this is going to sound like a more significant criticism than it actually is. Like I don't think it's that bad. But I think for Mario Maker 3, I would love for the campaign to be a little bit more than it was. Like it was fun and I was glad it was there, but it was I don't know. I also kind of walked away from it like I've forgotten a lot of it. It just felt like it came and went. I wish there was something about it that could be.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess I didn't expect it to be anything more than what I think it is.
And I think that's fair.
What I think it is just kind of a cute, fun little thing to introduce you to some of the concepts. The biggest misstep that I have against Mario Maker 2 is there are some things in that story mode that you can't do when building a level. Like you can't do a rescue a toad level, for example, as far as I'm aware of at this time. And I think that's kind of weird. Like if the whole point of the story is to introduce you to concepts that you can use in your level design,
Right.
why have things that you can't do?
Sure.
That's so bizarre. But that's like the only complaint I have against this game, really.
Yeah, it is a fantastic game, and it's so much fun playing levels and making levels.
Yeah. And that's the real meat and potatoes of
Absolutely.
it, is the community stuff. Yeah.
And I think just as somebody, and maybe like Mario Maker already does a lot to make it very easy to get in there and create, and so I can't really hold it against it. But I think as somebody who has this like weird fear of making levels, that I wish the campaign would maybe alternate a little bit, where it was like, okay, your mission is to make this. Like you can, and maybe you could do it a bunch of ways. Just something that was like fun and actually maybe helped you along a little
Yeah.
bit.
Did the campaign even have any making in it? You just play the whole
Yeah,
time,
you just
right?
play.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That is kinda weird.
Unless I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure you just play.
I think that's correct. I don't
Yeah.
remember making anything in it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't remember.
I think
making it.
I mean I think that they were trying, what they were probably thinking was like they're trying to make a Mario game just a little weirder, like
Right.
Mario
Yeah.
Maker style, more bizarre mechanics,
But the update, the Link stuff,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure what else. I guess there is.
They
in the
added
update.
some speedrun stuff, which is really cool, and some other parts like pokies and stuff.
But you seem pretty warm on this update.
I loved it.
What's going on?
The Link thing is the most amazing part of it, and it's it gives you the Master Sword as a pickup item, which at first Don and I were playing it and we were like, oh, if you get hit, you drop the Master Sword and you become Mario or whatever again. Which at first we were like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, shouldn't you just be able to be Link for a whole level? But now I kind of understand more why they did it that way, because it is still at its heart Mario, know, and it's an added level of challenge to not get hit. And when you're designing levels, if Link mechanics are required, you have to just provide more Master Swords later and stuff like that.
So what are your capabilities as Link?
Yeah, so you can you have a bow and arrow that you can shoot at diagonals, forward, backward,
That
up.
seems really powerful.
It's really
Yeah.
cool. You have bombs that you can throw or plant at your feet.
Wow.
That can blow up all the standard bombable Mario blocks. You can charge forward with your sword. You have a sword, so if you're in a 1 block tall hallway, you can kill enemies in front of you. You don't have to jump on them. You can still jump on them, and you have a shield that you can block things like thwomps. I think even.
Is it maybe can you reflect things?
You can, with the shield, you can block. I think you hold down or something. I can't remember.
But traditional Zelda style, can you, if somebody's shooting a projectile at you, can you bounce it back and hit them?
That I don't recall offhand.
Yeah.
But maybe with
That
the
doesn't
shield.
surprise me.
Maybe. But I mean, people made Link levels that are really cool, where you have to throw a bomb in a certain place, or hit a button with an arrow up there, that Mario literally couldn't hit.
Right.
It just changes the way you think about level design in a really cool way. And because it is a power up, you can then intentionally mix the two gameplay styles, like Mario for this part, Link for this part, Mario for that part. It's neat. It's really fun.
And this sounds legitimately just so cool, because
It's really cool.
I don't know. I feel like they implemented something in the best way, where it's still Mario and you're still interacting with the Mario elements that you use, but you can kind of reinterpret him through these new abilities. It sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
but it's not like you were saying, it's not completely different. It's like a good expansion of the idea, and I think that's really neat.
Plus, it's kind of something that people have been wanting, right? People have been saying,
Oh, Zelda
Zelda
for the
Maker,
next,
Zelda
yeah.
Maker, and this is, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to put ideas out there that maybe aren't true, but like maybe this is a trial run for that sort of thing, or
Or I
it's
think maybe
just
it's
a
the other way
cool
because
marriage of two things.
Yeah, because
I don't think they'll do a Zelda Maker, but who knows?
I don't either, and I think it's kind of sort of reminds me of when they did the Mario Kart 8 DLC and they added the F-Zero stuff. You know, and they did these great, you know, new recordings of F-Zero music with live guitars and everything, and you know, have those tracks and all of that. And it's like, this is it. This is the F-Zero game. And then you kind of realize, like, Mario Kart 8 has sort of been an F-Zero game the whole time.
Yeah. We didn't need it.
So, yeah, in a way, it's like, yeah, we know that doing a full F-Zero game probably wouldn't get anywhere near the returns of Mario Kart. So we'll just do this for you guys.
And also, like, a Zelda Maker, the first thing I think about, unless you're going to make a Zelda that has no talking in it, is how annoying it is to type things on the Switch. Because you'd have, for story, you know, you'd have to type in all that stuff, and that sucks.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's a small complaint, I guess.
I kind of going off what you were saying, where you were down have that initial interaction where it's like, this is weird. I would be interested to see the kind of levels that would come up if, like, even if you got hit, you were still Link.
Yeah.
If you could toggle that somehow, and how that would change the creativity of the levels.
Basically, the way they do it is they have Master Sword dispensers so frequently that it's already basically like that. Like, as long as you just don't get hit twice in a row, you're basically always Link.
Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's still a little
in Mario
clunky.
Maker, yeah, there's
it's a little
kind
weird
of clunkiness to it when you have that.
But that's part of its like homegrown charm.
You're right. And I really do think that that's a vital component,
you know,
about it, where somebody makes something incredible around the limitations.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Like a lot of the videos I watch a decent number of Mario Maker level videos on YouTube and stuff, and like some of my favorite stuff are like the ones where it's like, okay, so we do this so that we like overload the like RAM buffer or whatever and cause a lag, and then that makes this thing like jump up in the air, and like, you know, like they're like intentionally breaking the game to make weird stuff happen, and it's just so neat.
I have to imagine, as somebody who making games, like being a professional video game developer, that has to be like both fascinating and heartwarming and terrifying to be like, wait a minute, I don't know how crazy these people are. Like, they're gonna find something that's gonna destroy this.
They're all having made levels, and then after I uploaded them, immediately realized they had a massive exploit in them.
What I think was funny is
save a copy of your level before you upload it. Always, I've learned that now.
Nintendo seemingly has some of the craziest testers out there, but what I think is funny is like when you look at like Mario Odyssey, and like you just find these like stacks of coins up in the craziest places because it's like the testers daring you. It's like, all right, you want to get here? You're like, how?
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many times where I will take a step back and it would be, I say to myself, like, how did you think to put this thing here? Like, it's amazing that you created this place and then to construct it in such a way where, like, finding it is a journey in and of itself. Like, games are amazing.
To say nothing about, like, legitimate exploits, like watching AGDQ stuff this past week or whatever it was ago, never ceases to amaze me. Like, even games that I'm really familiar with, like the Myst block that they did, like some of the nutcase stuff that they do where it's just like, oh, okay, I didn't know about that huge glitch thing that you could do to skip this entire area. Like, that's rad.
I kind of like the equalizer that speedrunning creates, where some of the speedruns that I enjoy the most are games that I would never play. Like, they might be legitimately terrible games, but through speedrunning and breaking the game, like, it becomes a new game.
Yeah.
And is suddenly, like, really entertaining.
Yeah.
I find that transformation fascinating.
Video games, dude.
Video games, dude. That's basically what the show is video games, dude. One final thing that I want to say, you mentioned, like, you talked about Link and then when you get hit, turning back into Mario. I want just for like a day them to patch Breath of the Wild, where if you get hit as Link, you become Mario.
You like jump around and it's really weird. Yeah. That'd be really funny. They don't say anything. They don't mention it. They just like see if anyone notices.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun.
Well, I mean, people are gonna
Oh,
notice.
people would notice pretty fast, but
Although that would be amazing if, like, on Nintendo's Twitter they have this video and it's like, none of you guys said anything.
we put it in the game for 2 whole days. I guess you don't deserve Breath of the Wild 2 after all.
Guess no one likes Zelda. Here's some more Fire Emblem characters in Smash.
Fighter Pass 2.
Fighter Pass 2.
Yeah.
I am really excited to talk. Both of the games that I'm going to talk about today, I'm very excited about. But I just want to look at Ian's face as I say this. Vermintide 2.
Oh, baby.
So-
oh, baby.
Pulling that out. Wow.
Yeah.
Everyone else is obsessed with catching up on Goaties, and Ben's like, nah, I want to
Ben's
play
like, I'm
some
going to play
Vermintide.
Path of Exile and Vermintide 2.
Well,
Yeah, I
Jones
have-
is kind of the same thing. Like,
Jones is playing
he's
Greedfall. It's
playing
like, Jones, come on.
and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that game came out this year, but
Yeah.
it's not going to end up getting
It's not
discussed.
going to come up. It's
Yeah.
not going to come up, bud.
I've been kind of charting my own path, and you know what? No regrets. But no, I played Vermintide. So a little backstory. I've played Vermintide 2 on PC. I actually streamed it with Brad and Huber. Really, really liked it. I've been saying on streams periodically since then, like, man, I'd love to play more. I'd love to play more. And then we were talking about it on the Monster Hunter stream.
Oh,
talking
right.
about Vermintide 2.
And then I walk into the office, and he's just downloading Vermintide 2
I wanted to play it
on
so
his PlayStation
bad.
4, and I was like, did you just buy the premium Vermintide 2 on PS4?
To my credit.
You were like, you bet your ass I did.
To my credit.
I was like, go home.
It was on sale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I did stay at the
For
office.
full price. That was the joke
That was
that
the
we
joke
made
we
yesterday.
I got it on sale. Full
For full price.
yeah. No, it was legitimately on sale. They're having but I wanted to play it so bad, and I had my PS4 with me that I downloaded it on PS4, and then I stayed in the office after everybody else had left and was
After the
playing it,
podcast.
and then I went home and played some more. And
On
then
the
I played
PS4 or on
yeah,
PC?
On PS4. I was like, I've charted this path. I might as well keep going.
I'm very proud of you, despite the fact that you did buy another game last night, or what day is it? Tuesday night. I am proud of you that Thursday night.
So it was last night.
So it was last night. I'm proud of you that you waited and didn't buy Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE.
Oh, you mean until we got our
Until we
review code?
I'm proud of you, Ben.
Yeah. It's the small steps
Yeah.
that we're making.
Because very frequently Bloodworth will be like, we got the code on the day it comes out, and you're like, already bought it.
got it. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Couldn't wait
It's a
6
problem.
hours.
It's
Go
a
to
problem.
sleep.
I accept my problems. But Vermintide 2 is great. All that
Oh my
aside,
God.
and
Vermintide 2.
I haven't played the PC version in a while. I imagine, of course, that's probably the best way to play it. But I really have no complaints about the PS4 version. Having a great time, and that game is really great. And I think for people who like the Warhammer or the Warhammer aesthetic, or just like Left 4 Dead games, it's cool. But I think Vermintide 2 deserves more attention than it ever got.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's really good.
I mean, I haven't even put any time to it, but I kind of feel that way too. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think sometimes when you say it's like Left 4 Dead,
it does it a disservice, I think.
it does it a disservice because
Not that Left 4 Dead is bad, but it's just like they're different enough.
they're different enough, and like in Left 4 Dead, your character doesn't matter. Here, your character matters substantially.
Yeah.
And that I love the way that they've structured it, where like so many games you get like daily and weekly challenges, and they actually encourage you to play as other characters. And
Which I never do.
Yeah, you always play the elf,
I always play the archer, yeah. Killing.
but then you get more rewards if you mix it up and you do the things.
I'm not in it for the rewards.
But
I'm in it to shoot rats with a bow and arrow.
I guess from a top-down perspective, and Ian, maybe you could back me up on this, the best thing about Vermintide 2 is the way that it like overwhelms you is so cool. Because at any given moment, there's so many enemies on screen, but unlike, and this isn't a knock against the genre, but unlike a Muso game where it's just like, oh, these things are, these are paper tigers, they fall over so easily. I do feel like you're very limited in Vermintide 2 in smart ways, where it's like ammo is a real concern always.
Yeah.
And so because ammo is such a concern, you rely a lot on melee, which means you have to put yourself in the thick of the horde so much, and you can't just keep holding down block. Like, and I love the idea of, like, if you block attacks from the front, it will do less block damage to you, but you can block them from all sides, but if they like hit you behind, it'll do way more block damage. So it's kind of encouraging you to always keep the enemy in front of you, which is important in a lot of ways. And your abilities for each character are kind of tuned in such a way where it's not like it's never useful if you just kind of use it on its own. It can just help you out. But they're kind of tuned in such a way where you want to use them for a team, and you want to coordinate, and you want to find kind of the right moment. And no one character, I mean, in the early set anyway, I feel like can do everything in kind of a cool way.
Well, and I mean, the thing about it that's the most immediately impressive to me is the impact. Like, they made melee feel so good.
Oh, absolutely. The melee is phenomenal.
It's crazy. Like, I don't know what they did necessarily. I mean, I guess if I looked at it, I could figure out all the different elements. But, like, the combination of all the things they did to make this game, it just feels so good to smash these rats and goat boys.
There's like this chunkiness to it. Yeah. The sound is great. And just, like, winding up a swing and then seeing it go in. And I love the different types of enemies that you fight where it's like, oh, they're armored, but so hit their head or get behind them or something. That's fantastic.
And, like, the way that they structured the game and the way they do the story, I think is appropriate for the kind of game that this is.
Yeah.
Like, it never stops being bonkers, like, almost all the time. And there's still story stuff happening, and you understand enough of it to care the amount that you need to care to just keep going through them. You know what I mean? Like, you understand if you're in, like, the last level of a set and you're like, okay, this one's going to be hard. We've got this boss. It's going to be nuts. Like, let's gear up. But it never gets in the way because you're going to replay the level, you know, so it doesn't waste your time.
Right. I think what's the characters are a big part of that kind of storytelling that you're talking about, where
good voice lines. Yeah,
as somebody who's not like a big Warhammer person, the chemistry between them and the very distinct personalities and the lines that they say to each other, whether it's like oh, you know, you killed that one, but it really didn't count. Like, it's a dire situation, but there's a banter between them that doesn't feel like too corny and dumb, but
also
just
the
makes them likable.
Oh Lord, what's his name? The guy with the Quaker hat that's like the witch hunter guy.
Yes.
Everything he says is amazing.
Yeah, he's really
every
good.
line. And the way that guy talks is so funny. My friend Jack and I, Jack's been on some stuff, you might recognize him, but he and I to this day still say, like, and not before time, like, to each other in real life all the time. Because he just says that and it's such a weird
He's
phrase.
very zealous.
Yeah,
he's
great.
great.
Oh God, he's so funny.
And I think the environments themselves are
the level
gorgeous.
design is really good.
Yeah, there are just times where, like, whether you're in the woods or in a ruined city or like underground, like what was it, like follow the trail of corpses or something. Like it's really like I love fantasy shit. I love dark fantasy shit, and it just plays into that so well. And it's fun just like walking around your hub and kind of poking around and seeing what's there.
Well, I love how much they change the hub. The keep like changes, at least on PC, I assume on PS4, but like the hub, like I'll go in like every month or whatever, and like the keep will be not entirely different, but pretty substantially changed, you know? And I think that's really cool. It's just interesting.
One criticism that I would say is even early on in it, still just getting my feet wet, I do feel like there's kind of a repetition with the bosses where I'm like, this could be more like I'm in a different map. Like, why am I fighting another bile troll or like just another big thing? Like, they all kind of feel very similar in a way so far, and maybe like
it's really
higher
funny.
difficulties will.
Well, I play on what are the difficulties? Challenger.
Cataclysm is the like highest one now.
Okay, yeah, I'm on like 1 or 2 from the top.
Okay.
And it's pretty funny how some of the bosses that were tough in the beginning, you just like destroy now, and then other ones are like, oh my god. It's pretty funny.
I do feel like there's a pretty decent job in the level design of making them feel different. Like it's still pretty straightforward. Like they're essentially kind of like starting you at a point and funneling you to the end. Yeah. But they kind of like break up the pathways enough. There are enough moments where it's like, oh, how do I get there? And you have to poke around a little bit. That kind of helps instill the feeling that you're exploring a place while at the same time still being linear, because they want you to get through these maps, relatively quickly.
Well, and like the first example that comes to my mind is the one that starts you in the forest, and it's pretty. That level is so good, and it's like pretty wide.
Yes, it is.
And if you know where the hidden stuff is, you have to kind of go off to the side. But like, that feels like such a Lord of the Rings moment when you're like running through these trees and like things are jumping at you from, and you have to be like, It's awesome.
And you just see like pockets of enemies spread out, so you pan around. Just a little bit here. It really instills the feeling of, I don't know where the next thing is going to jump out of. Which is
and that's something this game does really well, is having enemies come from the sides or behind just the right amount of the time to keep you on your toes, but you don't always expect it.
Right. I actually think that's something it might do even better than Left 4 Dead, where like you have those special units that can incapacitate a teammate. I feel like it relies on those less than Left 4 Dead. Like they happen, but it's not like annoying about it, like you were saying, which is cool. And you kind of touched on this, but I want to just emphasize that I love that there are hidden things that you can find that will increase your score, which will give you better loot at the end. Like, it's such a good system because, again, it adds a little bit of exploration while not making it like so open that things are a pain in
the loot
ass
system is cool. It feels good most of the time.
Yeah.
Also, like special units, the voice lines, I feel like the characters they did a really good job with the characters calling stuff out themselves in a way that matches how you would call it out and the characters would call it out in real life. Like they'll be like, I mean, it's been a while since I've played, but I can't remember the specific names or whatever, but like, one of the characters will just be like, hook rat, like,
yeah.
And like, that's right when you would say like, oh crap, hook rat, it's just a really well-made game.
It is. It's a really cool game. I haven't touched any of the Winds of Magic stuff, which is the most recent.
Yeah, I haven't. I bought it, but I haven't done it yet.
I had it and I lost it. I had it and I lost it. It was a point that you'd mentioned. I hate when
good
that
loot.
happens.
The loot system, voice lines, calling out hook rats.
Hook rat. Now I'm just thinking hook rat.
The Grimroar.
Rat.
You mentioned just the presentation of the story, and we talked about the banner between characters. You saved me. It was just saying, you just gotta, if you want to remember something, you just gotta say hook rat.
Hook rat.
5 times. Hook rat.
Hook rat.
Oh, there it is. I need to do my taxes.
Speaking of which.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah.
Well, not quite.
Coming
We'll
up.
get our tax paperwork for a few
coming
weeks.
up on
but
it.
yeah.
Love them.
Love those taxes.
Love those taxes. I almost lost it again there. Hook rat.
Hook rat.
Hook rat.
Hook rat.
No, the presentation of the story, a small thing, and not obviously exclusive to Vermintide 2, but really helps me is I love when you are going into a mission and it just gives you a really nice summary of like, here's what's going on, here's what we got to do, here's what we got to investigate.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay, setting the scene. It's really nice.
And I have found personally that other players most of the time when going in with randoms or whatever are pretty helpful. I only ever play it when I have at least one friend, and obviously my favorite is to play it with all a full crew of my friends. But like when going in with one or two randoms, usually it's really nice because they'll say in chat or voice chat or whatever, be like, are we going for all of we going like max pickups, and we'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
And then everyone like knows where they are and stuff. It's cool. I don't know.
I've been playing solo and having a better time than expected.
Yeah.
Maybe as I keep progressing, that will get more annoying. But right now, it's pretty sweet.
Are you doing voice chat or no? with
He's solo.
headphones.
with the bots.
Oh, you're just doing bots.
Yeah.
Just doing
I thought you
solo.
meant online with
No,
solo.
no.
Solo.
I'm just doing it solo with bots.
The bots
I can
are
do
fun.
voice chat with the bots if you want.
I love bots.
Hey.
I thought you meant you were going in solo queue. Sorry,
But
I
because-
misunderstood.
Because I've been playing with bots, there have been moments where like I already have health potions and I only have a little bit of health gone, and they're just potions right there. And so like, oh, I'll just top off and grab another potion. I love the line that they say where they're like, "Really?
Yeah.
You wasted that healing potion?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're just kind of like, "What the
They're
hell?"
like keeping everything for yourself, eh?
yeah.
Wasn't it like with Binary Domain and Mass Effect 3 both had like voice command
did,
options
yeah,
for your
yeah.
squad? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, funny.
Yep. Connect for Mass Effect 3.
Check out There Came an Echo by Iridium Studios.
Oh yeah.
But then I loved the elf's retort to I was playing as the elf, and she was like, "If you wanted it, you should have grabbed it." It's just like that. There's so much flavor here.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Ian, I got some bad news.
Uh-oh.
So the demons were planning on being very lenient today,
Oh man.
but then you said two words in conjunction. They were like, "We cannot let that slide."
This always happens to me.
It's offensive.
Not hook rat. They love hook
They
rat.
love hook rat.
They
Hook rat.
love hook rat. Hook rat's one of them.
Yeah, hook. I was just gonna say, for the first time we will reveal a demon. One of them is hook rat. How many are there?
Nice guy.
Yeah,
Some-
nice
most
guy,
of the
but
sometimes.
don't like,
Yeah.
don't loan him stuff.
No, yeah.
You know,
Oh, for sure.
And don't like go off on your
he
own.
still hasn't returned my DVD copy of 50 First Dates. So.
He loves that. He won't shut up about
I know.
50 first dates.
Stop.
We're like, hook rat, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Someday he'll find his 50 First Dates.
His Drew Barrymore.
The two words that you said were massive exploit.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I shouldn't have said that.
You should have known. This is kind of a cruel caught in a frame trap.
Oh, no.
So what I've done, and you'll see this theme continue throughout the episode, but for each of you, I am making you choose between two things. Only one of them can exist. And they're
Okay.
all games. Some of those games have been announced, and some of them are just dreams. But for this caught in a frame trap, you have a metaphorical gun to your head, and you have to choose. Who wants to go first?
Bloodworth.
Bloodworth
Bloodworth
going first.
Bloodworth wants to go first.
We have to go. So
All right, Blood. Only one of these can exist.
Ever.
A brand new 3D Mario game or Breath of the Wild 2?
Breath of the Wild 2.
Okay.
Correct.
The next Forza Motorsport or the next Gran Turismo? Only one.
Whoa.
Ooh, you specifically said motorsport.
I did specifically
so
say
I will go with
Motorsport.
Gran Turismo.
Ooh, okay.
So Horizon can still happen? Is that what I'm picking up
That's
on?
what it sounds like to
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I figured he would pick Horizon.
Yeah.
A brand new game in the Mother series
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
or a brand new Advance Wars?
Mm-hmm. I'll go with Mother. I still need to finish Mother 3. I gotta figure out that timeline.
In true Bloodworth fashion, that happened pretty calmly and collectively. So just to reiterate, for our lovely listeners, Blood chose Breath of the Wild 2. There will never be another 3D Mario game.
Ever.
He has really damaged Mario irreparably. There will never be another Forza Motorsport. There will only be Gran Turismo. Forza Horizon, though, so, you know,
Yeah,
not that
whatever.
bad.
Motorsport kind of peaked.
There,
Brutal.
there will never be another Advance Wars game ever, but there will be a new game in the Mother series. Ian, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Bloodborne 2 or Dragon's Dogma 2?
Oh, no! That's
dare
so
you.
much worse than anything.
How
I
dare
got. That's so much worse.
How dare you?
And keep in mind, there will never be a Dragon's Dogma 2 or a Bloodborne 2. If you
No!
pick that.
I mean, I have to go Bloodborne 2. I have to,
Okay,
but
you've destroyed,
oh my
you destroyed
God.
Dragon's Dogma.
Ben,
A brand new Castlevania or Silent Hill?
2D Castlevania or 3D Castlevania? or just any at all.
I
ever.
mean,
Come on, nobody is that hyped for 3D Castlevania.
that's what I'm saying. If it's 3D, I'll kill it in a heartbeat.
I was thinking 2D.
Okay. Oh my God, Ben.
Yeah.
His were so easy.
I had a harder time thinking of Bloods.
I got to be less passionate about the 4 games I like in this entire world. Anything else, I'd be like, whatever, kill them both.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know, I'll go with Castlevania.
Okay.
I feel like Silent Hill 2 said everything that we needed to say. I'd be okay with not saying more, but I feel like we're due a good Castlevania.
I mean, there's still just that like lingering disappointment of what PT could have been.
Well, yeah.
Um,
But I mean, Konami, whatever.
a new Fire Emblem game or a new Final Fantasy Tactics?
Ooh. Final Fantasy Tactics.
I thought you would pick that one.
Yeah.
There are 17 Fire.
Yeah. There are enough Fire Emblem games. There's only ever been one Final Fantasy Tactics.
All right.
Well-
so,
No, there was Game Boy Advance.
Yeah,
A2.
versions.
No.
Oh yeah, there was 2. Wasn't it? I never
Yeah.
played that one. Was it good?
I think it was good, but not like
Yeah,
the same like historic kind of
I never played that one.
Which one?
Final Fantasy Tactics A2. I think it was.
I haven't
called.
played A2. I actually really liked Advance a lot. A lot. But yeah, I didn't play A2.
Was Advance the adaptation or is that a new game?
War of the
No,
Lions was
it,
the.
It was not. It was a brand new game.
Okay.
So Advance was a brand new game, and then A2 was a brand new game.
So there have
War-
been 3
There are
and
3,
version like 4
yes.
versions of original Tactics,
I can
Well,
only
no,
think
there's
of.
two.
only
Yeah.
or OG and then War of the Lions.
and then like 8 ports.
yeah,
to
it's on a
phone.
lot of different things.
Got it.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, just phone.
phone,
PSP,
PSP, and PS1.
Vita.
Is it not on PC?
It's not on PC to my knowledge.
I don't
That
think
sort of
so.
makes sense because I'm sure PC players would scream that there's no mouse support.
Put mouse support in it, Square. Come on.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have Final Fantasy Tactics on PC though.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to have it on Switch.
Yeah, it would be. Make it happen. All right, so Ian, there will never be another Dragon's Dogma game. But there will be Bloodborne 2.
I can live with that.
There will never be another Silent Hill game.
Yeah.
But there will be a brand new 2D Castlevania.
All right.
There will never be another Fire Emblem game. But there will be a new Final Fantasy Tactics.
You know you did you know you crafted a good game like this. If I'm still like, did I do the right thing?
Right.
Was I wrong?
We got an episode ahead of us. All right, so because this was, both of you participated in it, you will have to collectively get us out of the frame trap. So think of a way to combine your efforts to defeat a massive exploit.
Yeah, okay.
That's the thing. That's the
Massive
trick.
exploit.
That's the trick. Before we get there, we are going to shout out some wonderful patrons who are a part of our relatively new shout out tier. If you want to find out more about that, go to patreon.com/easyallies. Our first shout out is Elthanas. Shout out.
Shout out.
Shut up.
Our next is Greg, TheDarkKnight Kettering.
Shout out.
Caleb Togi Crawford.
Shout out.
Will Schmuck.
Shout out.
And Mr. One Luigi.
Shout out. Who's actually a new patron.
Hey,
New
Just
patron.
joined in.
Welcome
at that
aboard.
level, yeah.
you are the Mr. Number One, Luigi.
Luigi.
Have you figured out a way to get us out of this frame trap?
I was thinking that I would sort of spin jump into Ian, and then that would push him through the wall.
I was thinking about
This sounds
yeah,
dangerous.
I was thinking about I would have to clip through some geometry.
Yeah.
So that sounds like we're both thinking the same thing.
Make it happen.
How am I gonna clip through the geometry, Blood?
This is not going to pick up on the mics very well.
Duck down a bit so that your
Okay.
physics are,
Yeah.
are already under stress.
Your
I'll
physics.
I'll be bumping into the chair.
All right, I'm gonna try to spin jump. And
I am outside of the game now.
You just keep giving game impressions like from there.
I'm terrified. I feel warm.
I feel warm.
I had a score in either Burnout 2 or Burnout 3 that would like be impossible to repeat because of like one of those things where like basically like in crash mode, like all the cars had bunched up to the point to where like this bus was just getting kind of compressed.
Mm-hmm.
And then like one more thing hit it and it just sort of popped. And it just flew in the air and just started spinning. And like you were getting points every time it rotated, right? And so it just like millions of points just racking up.
Did you record this?
Oh, no, it was way before we could record anything.
Oh,
Long
man.
before that.
Yeah.
Did you draw it in a sketchbook?
No.
Did you preserve it somehow? Did you take a Polaroid picture? Bloodworth, you've been spending a lot. I'm going to need you to give me an hour count amount of time.
In a seemingly impossible amount of time.
In
Actually,
Death-
it's fairly common and a lot of people are actually higher.
Really?
in
Yeah.
Death Stranding.
Yeah. So 124 hours is what it said on the clock.
124
Yeah. At the same time, like I don't
cow.
entirely doubt it because I was putting a lot of time into it every night.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the rest hour count definitely made me question like what are you counting as rest? Because it said some like I don't know what the definition of it was, but it said like 42 hours of rest time, and I'm like, huh?
Did you leave your PlayStation on for a weekend or something?
But that's the thing though, is like I was thinking like, well, maybe it's counting like when the PlayStation's in rest mode, you know, if I haven't quit the game.
That's not true
But it would
because
be
I left it in
more.
rest.
It would be,
Yeah, I
like,
left it in
crazy number.
rest mode all the time, and I beat it in 42 hours. So
Yeah. But I've seen like a lot of people were like, again, like the proportion of the amount of time you're resting, like just didn't necessarily make sense. So I
Only-
don't.
weird.
Only Kojima knows.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, unless a patch after I played it changed something. I don't know.
But Blood, we talked a lot on this show, and then we had the spoiler mode, of course, and then we had the review about Death Stranding, and there's a lot to talk about with this game, and so it's been a divisive game, I would to say the least. Just from story, gameplay, what is kind of your like elevator pitch reaction?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I mean, because you said like we have talked about a lot, so like I all spoilers on the table. So if you want to experience it fresh for yourself, just move on to the next topic and the timestamps. Because
Which are in the description.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I just really got into the whole gameplay of this game and just the way it works so differently and the interaction with online and all of that. Like and it's like in a way it's funny because you know you go into this from the trailers and everything and it's like this is a crazy world and story and I'm like really like into whatever this sci-fi horror vibe is, but but then a lot of the gameplay is like just so detached from that, like you're in some ways, in other ways, like it all fits together like really neatly, but it was like the gameplay that got me just stick around for so long. I wasn't just like, oh, I want to see the next cutscene. I was like, no, I want to, get this area built up more, or do more over here, or get this guy to 5 stars or whatever.
Yeah, and I thinking about Death Stranding and then just thinking about your personality and the way that you play games, it really is such a perfect game for you because that's the kind of player you are. You're a very like methodical, slow, like I'm going to poke around, I'm going to just go over here and explore and find stuff.
Yeah.
And like the Death Stranding is built for that.
Yeah, the crater, which I didn't even realize what it was at first, but there was like there's a guy called Craftsman, and like right north of him is this big crater, and like you have to go into this BT area and go through some buildings and a mall and stuff to like extract some items that are left there. And I did that quest and came out and didn't really think much about it. And then later on, for whatever reason, I decided like I wanted to get up on top of that crater. Mm-hmm. And then I was like going around the top of it and looking down, and I like saw like the tar jellyfish thing or things or whatever for the first time. I'm like, what is that? and then I got further, and I saw like up kind of in the middle top of that crater, there was a sign for like Middle Knot City or whatever. It was like, oh, this is where that happened. Like in the they're talking about this in the story, and I just hadn't put two and two together until like I got up to that sign. It's like, oh, that's where the city used to be, where that got bombed.
Yeah.
So stuff like that. But I think to me, like just like the whole concept of like going into an area fresh, and I really as I got further and further into it, started feeling like very Breath of the Wild in a sense that like this is open world in a way that like a lot of open world games aren't really constructed, and towards like you kind of know your destination, but you don't have a road to get there. You have to sort of figure it out, plot a path, kind of look at the terrain, see if there's a way to like go around, if there's a slope up the backside of the mountain or something like that, wherever you're trying to go. And then once you do that and you connect the person in the network, then it's really cool how when you go back now, like you have all this other stuff and all these other players and all these other tools available to you, and like you see other people's paths, they get laid on the ground naturally, kind of like, what was it? I think the Animal Crossing on the Wii is like the only other game I can think of to where like walking around created paths on the ground. And then later on, just like the whole thing with the zip lines.
The zip lines are so much fun.
It was not just so much fun, but just the like juxtaposition of like you really got to trek through an area to get somewhere, and then like finding those ideal spots for zip lines to set up, and then on top of that, the connection to other people's zip lines, and like. And it just feels like so rewarding when you like zoom up on your zip line and you see that like somebody left it like 60 likes or something like that, and just that level of interaction with other people. And
the zip lines are so funny because when I first unlocked them, I was like, why would I use these? And then like 2 seconds later, I did them and I was like, oh, this is my life's mission now to just like put these everywhere.
Right.
Me and a user who actually I think listens because I mentioned them before, someone named Posh Alligator. In game,
Posh Alligator.
When we were playing it, we
Nice.
It seemed to me as though, from my perspective, that Posh Alligator and I were trying to do the same thing, and which was connect the entire country via zip lines. Because I piggybacked off of their zip lines like a lot of times. It was great.
It's almost similar to like an RPG like progression, like getting new abilities, or just getting levels. Or
and almost in a way like Metroidvania.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because one of the things, like particularly as I started getting further on, is like once I started like getting those star ratings up with people, they would start giving me new tools that like I hadn't even like thought of. Like the one guy gives you like a backpack covers, so that like.
Wait, who does that?
I think his name is the Collector.
I never did him. Oh, that would have been nice.
Yeah, so these backpack covers, so like everything that's like basically like neck height down gets covered up and protected from timefall.
That's really, I didn't know that.
Damn it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But the way that transportation is spaced out, right? Like even when you get your first vehicle, it feels you've spent enough time just kind of hoofing it around that it's kind of this huge relief. And then the same thing, getting zip lines and roads and all of that stuff is that they kind of place you in a certain like tier of travel long enough that you really appreciate it when the next one shows up. And they do that with a lot of things. Like it's so cool how the game ramps up and how the weather changes and how that impacts your traversal. Like, it's a pretty gradual increase.
One of the craziest kind of moments was a point when my wife was actually watching, and
My wife.
you had to transport Mama to Mountain Knot City on your back, and so
that part was annoying.
Yeah, so you couldn't put her in a truck for whatever reason. They don't let you do that.
Yeah, you can. She'll sit next to you. I took her in a truck like most of the way.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, for whatever reason, I thought you couldn't take her in a truck, and so
I'm pretty
I thought.
sure I've taken human beings in trucks before.
Only you were allowed.
But did you?
Only
Yeah,
I
maybe.
was allowed.
Yeah, maybe.
Because of your connection with Posh Alligator.
Yeah, Posh and I.
But you
made
did it
happen.
with Mama too.
I believe so. I mean, I played
Okay.
this months ago, so
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I took.
You
her in the
realize
truck.
that if either of you are wrong, one of you has to be fired.
More money for me.
Well, for whatever reason,
Just kidding.
I did not think that I could do that, and so it was like, okay, well, I can either like take the road system and wind my way, and this is what I explained to my wife is that I can either take the road system and wind my way through this path that I already know pretty well to get.
through a terrorist camp.
Well,
Yeah,
you bypass.
one way,
yeah,
yeah.
you go past a couple. I had actually figured out a route to just not deal with those guys.
Framing the mules as terrorists is very funny to
They
me.
changed to terrorists halfway through the game.
Well, it's only
At
those
first
two
they're
camps
mules,
that are
and
terrorists.
then
yeah.
two of them
Yeah.
become
When the guys that have guns are considered
The
terrorists.
lethal guys
Well,
are terrorists.
Right, just think like the mules are just funny to me. That's all.
The
Yeah.
mules, it's the most hilarious video game addiction like character ever. I'm addicted.
So, anyways,
I'm addicted to Amazon.
so there was either there was a choice of either going around the easy way. You know, I know this route. I know exactly where I'm going. Or I could just go up the mountain next to the farm, try that, see if that'll work.
Through the snow.
Also, where I hadn't even been to the snow yet, really.
I went over the mountain right there one time too.
Yeah.
It sucks.
But yeah, I ended up going to that route later because there was a guy down there and there's zip lines and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was so funny to like that was the trek. Going over the mountain, going past the veteran porter and Hartman's place and all of that, and then ending up at Mountain Knot City, not even knowing if that was a viable route because I had never been to the mountains yet. So it was like, can I go up this? I don't know.
A little bit of a bummer that when you get to, like, I went to Hartman's before I was supposed to, and like a few other places before I was supposed to, and they're just shut. They're just closed.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. That's kind of a bummer, especially with Hartman, because it's like, I've talked to you since the beginning of this game on radio. Like, at least you'd be like, hey, what are you doing here?
Although his little quirk kind of makes sense a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
But Hook Rat.
Hook Rat. Yeah. He was probably just asleep.
But I enjoyed trucking stuff around too, like loading up that truck. Although there was a couple of times at the end where like I got myself in trouble because I was like, oh, I'll just do these things on the way to the other thing, and then like the
700 kilos.
Well, then the other I got like this one truck mission is like this loads the entire truck by itself. I'm like, crap.
Man, trucks can run out of power so quickly. But which is kind of cool in a way because then it makes you really value the towers that recharge
and
you.
roads.
Roads,
as
yeah.
well.
I
Roads
built
are
up all
so
the
good.
roads.
I built up
so.
a lot of the
Roads
roads.
are- yes.
Yeah.
And I also
love
got like the
roads.
extended life trucks and all of that good stuff. I never had any need for the defensive type trucks. That seemed a little weird to me.
Combat was never a problem enough to have to
Yeah.
worry.
No, combat really was not a problem. So the gameplay, really enjoyed kind of the breadth of it and finding your own way. How did you end up feeling about the story?
It's strange because it's like there's like splits, there's like splinters of the story that like that
Game's got 3 stories.
never made any sense. And then there are then there are other things that this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, although and again, spoilers, but like one of the things that's strange to me is just sort of, and I don't know if this is like a Norman Reedus thing because he kind of feels like, these two things that I've seen him in, like he sort of has a similar attitude, but he's the guy that's connecting everybody, but he's like so detached and doesn't feel like anybody cares about him in a weird way at the end. And it's like, I'm just going to go off and do my thing. I did my job. See you guys. Like, what?
It's a very Mad Max kind of moment.
Yeah.
Where he's like, well, but he does make that one connection, Bloodworth.
Mm-hmm.
He makes that one connection.
Yeah.
Louise.
That part was great.
I get where you're coming from.
We're going bonkers spoilers right now.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, man. Blood said there was the
Blood
warning.
said. He said.
At this point, it's your own fault.
Play or play?
I totally I backed away from that incinerator so many times.
Oh, dude, that little bit of a ludonarrative dissonance there, where it's like I was like, wait, is the game telling
Hold
me
on.
what?
Hold on.
What?
Every time you say ludonarrative distance, you now have to. You are required by law to do that.
I do that. I do that as a defense against the comments I get when I talk about ludonarrative dissonance, because if I make it seem like a joke, then it minimizes the blowback.
Well, now you've just dismantled your own bomb.
I know. Woo! Hoisted by my own petard. Ludonarrative dissonance. But the game is so funny because Deadman or whatever is like, if you take your watch off, you can go wherever you want and no one will ever know. So I was like, okay, that's the game telling me to go somewhere else?
Right.
So then I went, but it was like the only thing it was letting me do was go to the incinerator. So I was like, I guess I'll go to the incinerator, but I really don't want to burn this child. I want to keep this child. It's just one of those moments where it's like, I wish that the game had
It gave you
some
like an
other
obvious,
way, or
you're
like,
going to make the choice
Right.
rather than
Yeah.
push the button to do the thing you don't
want
to do,
and then the
and
character
then Norman makes the choice. Yeah.
It's definitely one of those video games versus story moment where I was like, am I making a choice or are
There was
you
like
making
some
a choice?
weird like pinnacle like right next to the incinerator, and like I'm just gonna climb this thing and look
Yeah.
around first. And, like,
Did you have a favorite character, Blood?
oh, a favorite out of all of those guys. The couple.
Huh.
Junkman and the whatever, the artist daughter, yeah.
There were some things that they did with this storyline. We've already talked about it, but just like having that cutscene where they just are so.
It's the only time anyone ever walks out of their
The
freaking
only
place.
time.
But
The only time.
When they finally meet, it's
Except
so
for Mama, I
dramatic,
guess.
and then you just get that email where it's like, you get the hints, right? Where it's like, this isn't as easy as I thought it was gonna be. It's not really working out, and then it's
Well,
just kind
even
of
in
like,
the first cutscene when they meet, there's a couple of things they say where I was like, they like needle at each other just a little bit right off the bat, and I was like, you guys, is this chill? Are you guys okay?
and then they just kind of flatly end it.
Mhm.
And then I'm like, that is such a nice, like, realistic.
I did
take
get
on
another
this.
email.
They get back together.
They
yeah,
did get,
they do.
yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
But they
I
leave you
appreciated
hanging
that.
on that for a long
Yeah.
You
don't-
appreciate that
yeah.
arc.
I
Yes,
think
yes,
you get
yes.
the end email like at the end of the game,
Yeah,
right?
you do.
Like at the
You
end.
do.
The mom is like, yeah, so here's their weird backstory.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he used to be part of like a murder gang. It's like,
Well,
oh.
same thing with the weird Higgs pizza delivery
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, man.
Which is weird because I only delivered, I think, the first one, and I still got to go in there and like look around. So it's like, I guess you don't have
Did you
to. do
get
the other two.
did you get the last one where it was like, here's the final one on the way back
There were
home?
3
Yeah, yeah.
orders, but I only did the first one. But I still got to go into the bunker.
Yeah, so I think you just have to do the last one then. Yeah.
I only did the first.
Wait, you got to go in on the first one?
I went in at the end of the game, but I only delivered one. Pizza.
Oh, okay.
I
so
only
you-
delivered one pizza. The
Did
first
you decide to just hop over there and see it?
one. He sent me an email. I got the final email where it's like, "Hey, haha."
You got the final email, but you didn't pick up the pizza.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
That
I only
sort
delivered
of
the.
makes
I only
sense.
delivered the first pizza, but I got the email at the end where it was like, "Hey, that guy you've been delivering pizzas for this whole time, it was me all along."
Oh, other silly thing. Do you remember when the Monster Energy drink turned into
Yes.
Timefall beer?
Yes.
Did you?
Wait, you didn't get that?
That never happened to me.
Yeah. So there's
Oh,
a
yeah,
there's
yeah.
a there's a farmer down south, right? And if you do the whatever
yeah.
missions for somebody, then like he starts delivering beer to people, and
Oh,
then the
funny.
Monster Energy drink turns into beer. But here's the
Which would have the opposite effect.
Here's the funny thing. So if you start drinking the beer, so the third beer, he'll like shake it up and spray it in the camera. The fourth
where,
beer,
like in your apartment,
in the private
in
room,
your
yeah.
private room.
The fourth beer, he just trashes the place. He just knocks everything off the table. Everything goes all over the place. After that, you never get any more beer. It's back to Monster Energy.
They
See, I would
won't
always
give you
come
beer.
back and drink like one. I didn't
Right.
keep going, so that's
I
really cool.
got curious because there was
Yeah.
a time I got 3, because 3 is like the max that you can
Yeah.
get on stamina. But I was like, what happens if I do 4? Never saw another beer again.
That's so funny.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
I liked some of the stuff that the private room stuff, like the times where you tap on the BB glass and like it freaks out
Yeah.
and like jumps at you.
I just wish some of that stuff didn't repeat.
yeah, the fact that some of those repeat
Yeah.
is sort of dumb, but that's the thing with Death Stranding that you have to realize. Like, like, if you look at it as an indie game, which is kind of what it is, you know, hear me out. It's a massive map with a really great engine that they didn't build themselves, by and large. The mule encounters, the fact that all of the locations are basically identical, the fact that there's only a couple of cutscenes that people come out of their houses, you know, like everything is kind of cut and paste and repetitive. To me, that is a scope thing. Like, here's a game, here's a team. They understood their budget and their limits and their timetable for a AA, AAA, whatever you want to call it, but they're an independent studio.
Yeah, all my favorite indie games have celebrity cameos.
But like, do you know what I mean? Though
I'm
it's
just,
like
I kind of do get what you mean.
Cut and
that
paste.
It's
It's a cut and paste game. Like
I feel like they
on
knew
top
what
of a
they were
giant
important
engine.
to them and made those cuts.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ian, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just
It's a more charitable way to look at this game.
there's
is
an
what I mean to
excess
say.
to Death Strand. Like everything that you're saying, I completely agree with, and there's that independent thing and that what they're choosing to accomplish and the engine that they chose and all of that. Yeah, I agree. But there's just this like hilarious excess to
Right. It's Kojima.
Yeah.
It's still Kojima.
Yeah.
But like
it's like Kojima at his most Kojima.
But I guess what I'm trying to drive at is like it's a more charitable view to take of the game, to think of it as just a huge indie game when you think of things like the combat was not good and the mule camps are all identical basically, and like there are a lot of repetitive things in this game, and like why do all the buildings look identical? And it's like because it's a smaller game than you think it is. You know?
But I also I don't think you need to make excuses for it either.
Nah.
Like
I guess I'm just defending this weird ass game from people who might hate it.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I have I have a laundry list of criticisms for Death Stranding, and people are like, well, why
Game's
did you give it
bonkers.
an 8? Because that's what it is. Like, it's not that simple. It's not that cut and dry.
Yeah.
Like, and just hearing Blood talk about it and us talk about like the unique things that happen to us, or just hearing Blood's stories, like it really is special in a lot of ways that those things can happen, and it is a game that rewards patience in a really cool way. Like, yeah, it's very flawed, but that like it's not like I hate when people are like, "Oh, this one part's bad, so therefore it's not a good game." It's just like you can't reduce analysis or criticism to that. Like it doesn't. You can't just be like, "Oh, Death Stranding, it fits in the box that like the yearly update to Call of Duty will." Like it's not that kind of thing.
What I love about it right now is like the amount of time has passed that we can talk with Bloodworth just about the stuff we liked about it.
Yeah.
We don't have to like worry about like criticism of this game necessarily, you know?
Oh,
We'll just be
well,
like, this was fun.
Yeah. And
What
I
a
think,
fun, weird game.
I think a more favorable impression comes out when you are free to talk about spoilers and cool tools that you got and that sort of thing. Like when you are heavily restricted in what you can talk about. Like then it makes more sense to talk about like the combat being bad.
Yeah,
It can be more vague in a lot of ways. But did you agree, Blood, that the combat was bad? I don't want to speak for you.
I don't
maybe
know.
isn't the right word,
Yeah, I don't know if I would say necessarily bad, but
I'm gonna say bad.
Just simplistic, limited, not the
it
focus.
wasn't challenging.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
You can punch your way through the entire game.
Yeah, you can just pretty much use the strand on everybody until there's guns.
Can.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why I say bad. Is
Bola
it seems,
gun is god tier.
The bola gun, I hated that thing.
What? I used the bola
the
gun
Bola gun's very good.
the entire game.
Bola gun's very
I
good.
aced every camp with just the bola gun and punching.
Because anytime I would use it, like guys would just get back up after a couple of seconds.
You got to shoot them toward the head.
Oh, okay.
I think it not being challenging, though, really works against Death Stranding because, like you were saying, Blood, like, charting your own path is, like, one of the best parts of this game, and I feel like those mechanics, when it comes to deliveries, are interesting enough that it remains fun throughout the whole thing, and, like, you get all these cool combat tools, and you just, like, the motivation for them to use all of them keeps going down when you're like so incredibly effective, with the first thing that you get.
Especially narratively, like when they started giving me lethal like machine guns and stuff, I'm like, but I can't what happens if I use these? Do I have to then take a body to an incinerator?
It sounds like it. I've heard of people that like they got void outs because they forgot a body somewhere.
Wow.
So
Did that make them lose the game, or what? Did they get a reset, or what?
Did you get any void outs when you played through?
No.
Oh, dude.
I didn't either.
So
I blew myself up with a bomb once accidentally.
But it didn't cause a void out.
It just said mission failed.
Because I think that's only happened.
Was it the bomb mission?
The A-bomb mission, whatever,
sure.
yeah.
So this is another one of these bonkers things, kind of like leaving paths around. Like when, basically, like if you die against like a BT thing, then there's this giant crater that's left on the map. So now you can't go that way at all. You've got to like now get a path around that crater. So it happened to me twice, and like
if you die
yeah.
against a BT.
Yeah, but I think apparently the same thing.
I don't think I ever died.
Can happen with a mule. If the mule body's left, it'll.
Will it just like get rid of like if the mule can't by the engineer? If you like killed a mule there, would it void out and kill the engineer and just like leave that place decimated?
I think that. So you know how like there's kind of like that bubble of where the mule camp is.
Yeah.
I think there's probably an invisible bubble. It's the same thing with the BTs.
That.
So like whatever that bubble is, like that's where the void out's going to be. So there's always going to be a path around it.
Right.
But it's going to be a
and
huge
you couldn't
chunk
screw
out of your
yourselves
map.
out of like having the Ludens fan or something.
Right.
Interesting.
And then the
I
crater of the void out. There's a huge handprint.
Cause a void out,
funny, really?
but I want to cause as many void outs as possible. Like I want to see how much you can take. Like
I bet there's some kind of weird Kojima secret if you get like 6 or 7 void outs or something. Like Die Hardman comes in and says this isn't
the
working
rest of
out.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, you get Chapter 51 or whatever.
Ian, you're bringing a game that I've never heard of to Frame Trap, and that is Wilmot's Warehouse.
Oh, this is a quick one. Someone just recommended to me on Twitter after I mentioned my love for Outer Wilds, and like, it's just a cute, fun, weird little organization game where you play you're a little square, it's top down, and you're just like in a black and white warehouse in 1980 whatever, and you have to just like keep track of all these random items, and then it's up to you completely to how you organize them, but like I was winding up with like, this is the shapes area. This is the outer space kinda area. This is the like office supplies thing. This is the game parts area. And
this sounds weirdly Death Stranding adjacent.
Yeah. It's actually a weirdly good segue. Yeah. But then your coworkers, you're sort of in like an Amazon warehouse. I don't know. Mm-hmm. You're Wilmot, I guess. But your coworkers, who are people, I just realized, which is kind of strange because you're a sentient square. They'll come and they'll say like, I need 3 chess pieces and 2 planets, please. And then you have like a certain amount of time to just go get them and bring them to them. And it's like up to you to remember where you put everything. And it gets obviously more and more crazy. And apparently you can do it co-op, which I think would be a really funny live stream. Like 2 different people's organizational styles like clashing would be pretty funny. So it's sort of like a combination of, I don't know, some kind of organization game and Overcooked, kind of, because you're trying to deliver the right things at the right time or within a time limit. I've played it for like, I don't know, an hour or 2. It's fun. It's weird. I want to try it co-op. I think it'd be cool. But it has a fun little style and stuff, and it's nice.
Do you feel like
I was playing on Switch.
There's enough progression and variety there to make you like really excited to play a lot more, or is it the kind of game where you play it for a little bit and you're like, oh, that's neat, and then you move on?
Yeah, like at this point, besides co-op, if we did it on a stream, I don't know if I'll go back to it. I enjoyed it. It was $15, which seems a little high, but I don't know. Maybe it opens up in a way that I just didn't get to yet. Like,
gotcha.
There are periods in between each thing where you get, it's called the stock take, where you don't have a timer and you can reorganize everything, and it's wonderful. And that's the time you also can buy an upgrade. I think I've had 3 of those. So maybe it opens up in some crazy way, but I mean, I've unlocked like 30 out of 200 item types, like storage items so far. You get like 4 after every round, new ones. So, I mean, if the game just keeps going as it is, it's just going to get more and more and more complicated and hard to organize everything, and you'll start running out of space.
Just like life.
Just like life.
Is there any sort of story or interaction between coworkers at all?
Not really, no.
Okay, so
Not that I've noticed so far.
Just kind of focused on the task at hand.
You unlock, I unlocked one motivational poster, but I don't know if it has any...
Interesting.
What was the word on the motivational poster?
Oh, what was it? It was something, I think it just said lift with your legs and not with your back, but I'm a square, so I don't know.
It's
kind of
cute.
It's kind of funny. It was
It's
cute,
kinda
but I don't
cute.
know if it has any effect on gameplay. It was just kind of there to be fun.
That's funny as a motivational poster.
Yeah, but you
That's
unlock
just OSHA required right there.
right. You unlock the ability to carry more things. Like you start out able to carry 6, and I can carry 8 now. And you unlock a dash, and you can tear down pillars in the warehouse to make more space. Stuff like that. It's cool.
It's one of those things where I almost feel like a description of it does it a disservice. We were talking about the game being about organization, where it's I feel like I have to see this. I have to experience it. The fun isn't you telling a story about it. The fun comes just from the
trailer
mechanics of doing.
The trailer that I saw, I think on the Switch store, or maybe on their website. I think it was on their website. Does a decent job of selling it. It's just this woman it's her thought process as she's playing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does a decent job of selling the game. You get
Sure.
a good idea of what it is like. But yeah, playing it is more fun.
You just reminded me, I'm sure that the trailer, the ad for it is great, but what is up, and I mean, this is not a new thing, keep this in mind, what is up with those, absolutely, embarrassingly bad, mobile game ads on YouTube, where it's just, people awkwardly talking about the game? I
have YouTube Premium. I don't know.
I haven't seen them either.
Seen those.
I don't have premium.
They
but-
sound
you guys-
awful.
It's just somebody. Sometimes it's just somebody talking in this really boring voice of okay, so today my army is really strong and we're gonna fight these guys. I don't know.
Sounds like someone trying to be cute and cool, and it's not working for you.
Yeah. It's just so grossly inauthentic. I don't feel like I'm doing a good job of describing the kinds of ads that I'm talking about, but
Ads are bad. I don't see ads anymore, and every time I do, I'm just oh yeah, right. I forgot about these.
if you want to find out more about us, go to patreon.com/easyallies. But speaking of, it's a game we've already mentioned. And another one of my games that I'm excited to talk about that you've both played, Outer Wilds, baby.
Nice.
Okay, so this is not a slight to you or anyone else who's covered this game, but I feel like you don't really understand Outer Wilds until you've played it.
Yeah.
My perception going into Outer Wilds is oh man, this is getting a lot of attention. This is getting some end-of-the-year buzz. I know other allies have talked about it very positively, but I didn't really get it. I didn't know what I was in for until I started playing it. And you do have to be careful because, this game is all about piecing things together, and you don't want that mystery ruined for you.
Yeah.
But I am so blown away by this game's design. It's so smart. I just want to, the people behind Outer Wilds, here's your award. It's
Well?
made me. Well, I don't
Remember you said that in
Yeah,
4
remember you
days.
said that, right. Oh
Remember you
boy,
said
that's
that.
gonna be used against me violently. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is I don't know. It just got. I'm not a game designer, and it got me excited about game design, and to try to express this in a way that makes
You don't
sense.
even know the half of it if you haven't gotten farther than where you were when we
when we
last
talked.
spoke.
No, I haven't played it since we last spoke.
Yeah.
Baby,
I probably haven't gotten that
you don't
far
even
either.
know you don't even know a fifth of it.
Here's the thing: is I believe you, and I also feel like I've seen so much.
Yeah. Outer Wilds, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
I'm propping you up.
So, Outer Wilds, the way to boil it down is you are part of this alien race, and you are meant to explore space. You are essentially, James T. Kirk. You
Yeah.
to go where no man has gone before. I've been
Except for more studious than yeah. I love that you're into Star Trek now.
yes. And that's a whole nother. I would actually love to talk about Star Trek, but anyway.
I'll talk about Star Trek.
Anyway, to get back on track of that, like, I just want to say, so I'm watching two things simultaneously. I'm watching the original series with Abby, and we are literally loving every second of it. I just want to watch Star Trek. And I'm also watching Star Trek Discovery on my own.
So weird that those are the two.
I know. And I've watched, okay, well, here's the thing. I watched the first 2 episodes, the first story of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Encounter at Farpoint?
Yes. And I was like, this is perfect. I'm going to save this.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah.
It's the best thing that I've seen so far.
Doesn't get much better than TNG.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was phenomenal. But yeah, it's kind of interesting watching like at the beginning of the timeline. Well, not the timeline. The beginning of like, the start of Star Trek as a series and the most current iteration. It's interesting comparing them.
Hoping Picard is good.
I like the original series a lot more.
Yeah.
A lot more.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I just earlier in my life I couldn't get into Star Trek for whatever reason on any serious note. Like I enjoyed the 2009 movie, but now watching it recently, I enjoy it less now that I'm actually getting into the series. It's a whole thing. We don't have time. Star Trek is really fucking good.
I can't even wait until you get into Next Generation.
It's really good.
Next Generation is next level.
I believe you.
Literally.
It's funny to me because I feel like there's a lot in recent years where like they're trying to make Star Trek relevant, and like it just shows that like you're going up the wrong tree, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
like just make something that's as good as what it was.
The Star Trek fandom, I think, wants
but
thoughtful,
he's
like,
not part of the Star Trek fandom. Do
but-
you understand?
but-
like
no,
he's
but-
a new person.
I'm
budding.
budding.
He's proof positive of my point.
Right.
He's liking the original damn series more than the one that's happening currently.
Yeah.
Well,
and it's because people want like more thoughtful, weird thought experiment stuff. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I've only seen a few episodes of Discovery. So.
It's very simple. Very simple. Like the original series is like, let's go out and explore, and pretty much every episode we're gonna find something new. We're gonna be on a new planet. We're gonna be dealing with a new species that has different rules. It's about exploring.
We're gonna have sex with them.
And then Discovery is like, we're at war, and it's just okay, this isn't no. And I'm no Star Trek expert. I'm not claiming to be. I'm just saying I'm getting into it, and I think it's really fun.
The Dominion War arc in DS9 is pretty dope. And the Year of Hell in Voyager was pretty dope. But nothing touches Next Generation IMHO.
I based on just those first 2 episodes, I believe you.
Yeah. Like
we'll get there.
Next Generation is like, hey, here's like a really intricate, interesting moral quandary. Like here's a philosophical quandary and some sick space shit at the same time.
The thing is though, and I always hate when people talk about it this way, where it's just like, oh, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this, you gotta watch this. These, if you're just getting into Star Trek now, hate to break it to you, there's a lot of fucking Star Trek.
There's a lot.
Even during the monthly meeting, Brandon was like, oh yeah, the original series, it's only 3 seasons. It's like, Brandon, there's
of 30-something episodes apiece.
Yeah, there's like 30 episodes in just the first season. They're all an hour long.
Yes.
Like, no,
it's just 30 hours of content, man. Come on.
That's one season. Anyway, Outer Wilds.
Oh my God.
People probably just want to hear about Outer Wilds. We had this Star Trek tangent. Welcome to Frame Trap. Anyway, Outer Wilds is kind of a perfect Star Trek game because it is just about the joy of exploration in space. And like, I sometimes struggle. Like, I love the idea sometimes of very aimless games, but I also find myself getting frustrated by them. Outer Wilds is such an incredible aimless game where I feel like I both have a lot of freedom, but at the same time, I always feel like I have something to investigate. I don't feel lost in a frustrating way. It's just like you have all of these different paths and you can go down any one, but you like kind of know what that path is in a cool way.
Aimless is such an interesting word choice to me because like, to me, the game was so mysterious that I felt like I was pulled in so many directions all the time that I had so many different aims of what I wanted to investigate. Yeah. And every planet I went to gave me like 8 more mysteries to investigate.
Right. And aim, it is not... aimless is the wrong word. I think what I was trying to
Freeform,
say,
open.
freeform open is better.
Well,
And
I thought it was funny because whenever I'd done the previews before it came out,
Yeah, because you and I played it like 2 or 3 times before it came out, if I recall.
yeah, we played it at a Annapurna thing.
Yeah, and then I got a preview
I played
build.
it at E3 before that.
Yeah. I'd played it at Indiecade like 7 years ago
Sure.
when it was
yeah.
like a student project.
7 years ago.
Like 6 or 7 years ago.
But
I wanna say.
But anyways, in those
Maybe
both of
5 or
those
6.
both of those cases when I played it before, I had gone out to like pretty far flung planets.
Yeah.
And so when I had played it on my own, I was just like, well, I just want to like, I'll just check out, the home planet first, see what else is here on the home planet before I really start getting out there.
Yeah.
And then like that, as you're saying, like immediately down rabbit holes. I'm off somewhere else already. Like I didn't intend to do this. I intended to be here.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it just leads
Did you beat
down
it? How far into it did you get?
I couldn't tell you how far. I
Right.
didn't get that
But you haven't
far
beaten it
into
yet.
it. No.
Okay.
And hopefully, before Tuesday, I'll put some more time into it. But
There's some masterful stuff
It's
in Outer
incredible.
Wilds because, like, you guys, we've said already how easy it is to fall down a rabbit hole, but like even just the design of the planets themselves, like when you're coming into Giant's Deep, first of all, the planet is just like amazingly creative and immediately gives you
And
this, like,
terrifying.
and terrifying. It gives you this very distinct personality where it's like there are all of these giant like whirlpools like ravaging all over the place, and they can like, it's so good because you could just be exploring. And it can just pick up the island that you're on, and it could shoot you out into space, and then you crash back down, and you may die, but if you play it right, you
Yeah.
won't. And
Yeah.
it's just a thing that will happen periodically, and it's not annoying. It's just kind of fascinating, and it feels like, I don't know, it feels like you're just exploring this crazy, dangerous, but also exciting and fun place. But back to my original point, there's not like, when you go into Giant's Deep, I think from like a player perspective, it's not like overwhelming, and I think that's what I was trying to communicate with the aimlessness thing.
Sure, yeah.
Is you want the game to instill like kind of an eagerness where it's like, oh, what's that? I want to go there. Not like the, oh my God, where do I go?
Right.
And I think that's the thing that's so brilliant about Outer Wilds is it hasn't been filling me with that, oh my God, where do I go? Like just coming into a planet, you'll see something interesting. You're like, well, maybe I should land my ship there. And then you land your ship there, and then like immediately you are looking at things that are interesting. They're kind of teasing you all down a path. And it feels like you are the great explorer uncovering it.
Yes.
But it's crafted in such a way where you're guided without it being like beat you over the head, go here.
Well, and it's
Kind of design.
It's everything I love about a video game for me, because it's like the form is the function, the narrative, the characters, the things that your character is doing are identical to what you as a player want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You're the first one who's had this Nomai translator translation device, so you're the first one who can actually read what the Nomai were saying to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So then it makes sense that the other explorers of your race don't know as many details as you. And like what you were saying, it's part of your character's motivation too, to like pick up pieces of this crazy story of this entire race completely out of order or in any order, because there isn't really an order until you know everything. Then you're like, okay, I understand the whole arc of their, and like that's such amazing game design, narrative design, writing.
And that narrative design is really important because, like, you and I were talking yesterday at how we kind of came at the story from 2 different angles, but it still felt like we were learning.
Yeah.
It wasn't, like, you don't have that sense of, like, oh, I'm getting this out of order and I feel bad. It's like, oh, it's explaining this thing to me. It's cool. And so, yeah, like, what you're learning, it sounds like, just based on what you were saying in our conversation, it sounds like no matter where you go, you feel like you're making progress and unraveling something. And that's so cool, because it sucks in a game where you have that nagging feeling of like, oh, I should have done this first. It prioritizes so much in rewarding the player's decisions.
Yeah.
And that feels awesome.
And the way the ship log keeps track of things for you is very, very well implemented. You never feel like you've lost any time. You never feel like you've not achieved something unless you like just messed up and died immediately or whatever. But even that sometimes is a learning experience.
Yeah.
And even the death itself is so fascinating because curious how much to say here. Like there are moments where I feel the danger of the planet, where it's like it comes up with a thing and it's like you're running out of oxygen, or your character is like and it creates a little bit of panic. But when you die, there is a little bit of punishment. Like you may have to go back to where you were, but it's quick enough that it doesn't really ruin the eagerness of exploration.
I think part of why it works so well is because it seems at a glance when you first get into space and you look around, it deceptively feels small.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, this is kind of a small game, I'll just go here and here and here, and then it'll be done.
Right.
But like we were saying, just like even exploring that first planet.
Yep.
All of a sudden, like you're in the things that what's happening now? Yeah.
And as you, it's such a beautiful game. But like the things that you realize over time, simply by being in a place for a certain amount of time, are so interesting and so intricate. And the way that they've, like, from a game design perspective, the system that they've built here is so intricate and complicated and like actually a simulation with physics and everything like affecting each other. Like geysers go off on Timberhearth because the moon goes by.
Yep.
Actually.
Yeah.
And the whole system, the whole solar system works like that. Things are affecting each other for real. And I mean, like, it's scripted to an extent. I mean, it's very, very well thought out and happens the same way, but that's for very good reasons. And like everything is happening for a reason, and everything is implemented well, and just the way that you can glean story elements from just being in a place, as much as from reading comments from the Nomai or your fellow astronauts, like, is just so well done and so intricately interwoven that I'm so impressed by this game. It's just never ceased.
There's an incredible amount of restraint shown in it as well, because you're very limited with what you can do, both in terms of like movement and the tools that you have available. Like it's really sparse, but because you're so limited, it leads to a sensation that we were also talking about yesterday, where you will encounter a predicament and you'll be like, well, I wonder if this works. And like, well, these are the options that I have available to me. And so more often than not, you kind of come up with an idea and then it works and you feel really good about it. And a lot of times it's just as simple as, how do I get over there?
Yeah.
And that's really, really cool.
And that's because there's such a consistent internal logic in this game. Like, it's all knowledge-based. It's all science-based. Even if the science of this game is, the science of this game and not exactly the science of our reality, but I think it's oftentimes pretty close. And it's just that dedication to the core systems and just letting you learn and grow.
It feels like it's playing with a very clearly defined rule set.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And they're really good decisions because of the other systems that they developed. Like, it doesn't take you long at all to get to a planet. Like, you want to go to a planet, you take off, you go there, and it's...
Be there in a minute.
Yeah.
And, like, some of the solutions... Because it's like, I questioned... Because right now, I put it in the puzzle best... I nominated it for best puzzle game. And it's like, it is and it isn't. It's an exploration game. It's a puzzle game. It's... everything. It's
Outer Wilds.
It's Outer Wilds, but like the solutions to some of the problems you face are so amazing sometimes. And also, once you realize them, you're just like, oh, duh.
It's weird because if somebody were to call it a puzzle game, I totally see that, but I also feel like it is underselling it tremendously.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
Well, because I know, like, Huber didn't want to play it as much because he thought it was a puzzle game. Because
Yeah.
I'd called it, like, Mist in Space, like, half jokingly.
Yeah.
But it's, like, it's not a puzzle game in that it has, like, the Witness, like, line puzzles. It's just a puzzle because the game is a puzzle.
right. But there are so many
It's a
other
puzzle
elements
game.
to it where, like, there are a lot of times I'm enjoying something about it that has nothing to do with a
Right.
puzzle.
It's a
just,
mystery.
Well, it's an adventure.
Yeah.
And there's so much story and character in
God,
there
yeah.
as well. Like it's not just the appreciation of it doesn't come just from solving things.
And it has such an amazing combination of being like so quaint and charming and
Right.
cozy and heartfelt
Yes.
and the most terrifying thing I've ever had to do in a
Oh, yeah.
game.
Like just like asteroids. Like yeah,
Dude,
yeah,
just wait.
yeah.
I'm not going to say anything else, but man, this game, it gets wild.
Yeah,
Outer.
I don't think I'll have time to finish it before Goaty, but
Trust me, dude. Like, it's going to be a tall order for me to try to sell this game, I think. But, like,
I'm sold.
if you're as enraptured as you are
Yes,
now,
I am.
it only gets more incredible, in my opinion, from where the things you've seen.
Then that's a good position to be in.
Yeah. Like, that someone on Twitter said after I mentioned that I'd beaten it
Mm-hmm.
and that it made me cry, which no game I think has ever done, maybe
Mm-hmm.
once or twice. But, like, someone said, like, the only thing worse than beating Outer Wilds is not being able to play Outer Wilds again for the first time. And it's, like, so true.
Yeah,
There were so many moments.
that's kind of the unfortunate thing about like shooting Goaty soon is it's like this is not a game I want to rush.
That's
I
yes.
don't want to do that. Like
Right.
you know, it may take me a while to.
I was
do
feeling
stuff.
I was feeling a little pressure because I really wanted, once I'd fallen in love, I really
Yeah.
wanted to finish it before Goaty's. And
I'm
that
not gonna
pressure
put that on me.
That pressure is not good for this game.
Yeah,
You don't want to
totally.
try to rush through Outer Wilds. You want to take
Totally.
it at your own pace.
It
Figure
like,
things out. Try not to look things up if you can.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to have a friend who'd beaten it already. Like Jason Wishnov had beaten it already,
Yeah.
and like,
well, like
he
our
never
conversation was fantastic.
right, and
Yeah.
like he never gave me any clues or hints or anything really. Like he steered me in the right direction once or twice. Because I was feeling that time pressure. I was like, I gotta beat this like in the next few days.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
You know.
put that on my like. It would be like rushing the witness. Like I
Yeah.
just don't think you can.
Well, and
Yeah.
you're only gonna hurt your own enjoyment.
Sure.
of the game, you know. But oh man, what a special game.
The one thing that is hurting me right now tremendously, and I was hesitant to bring it up because I know how much you love this game. HOTTAKE! I am stealing an idea from Ian Hink. I actually
Probably a bad one.
I actually burned through. There were a lot of Hotakes that I was coming up with, and I switched it around a lot. And then I was like, you know what? This sounds fun. Sounds fun. We haven't really done. It's very generic coverage, but I think with the Kill Your Babies twist,
Thank you.
it'll be.
I'm glad you think.
Oh, I
it's
thought
very
the other game was to kill your baby twist. Oh no.
No, we're killing. This is a killing episode. We're going to do Kill Your Babies, but Game of the Decade edition.
Oh God.
And so I have sent both of you on Slack. You have the list. I will read through it. Obviously, for the sake of the show,
This is typically
And
an
our
hour-long
conversation-
segment on its
we're
own.
going to have to
We'll go fast.
hustle. Yeah. I have written down a lot of games. Obviously, not all of the great games in the decade. Bear with me, dear audience.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm going to read through the list that I've written down. Bloodborne, Witcher 3, Bayonetta 2, Breath of the Wild, Mass Effect 2, Red Dead Redemption, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Dark Souls, Portal 2, Skyrim, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, Grand Theft Auto 5, Spelunky,
Nice.
Last of Us, PT, Yakuza 0, Doom, Overwatch, Persona 5, The Witness, XCOM 2, Divinity Original Sin 2, Dragon Quest XI, Hollow Knight, Nier Automata, God of War, Monster Hunter World,
We're an automata family.
I feel like I've said it every way you can say it, and like it's I always
I
confuse
think
myself. on it.
automata is the quote unquote official way.
Automata.
But the word is automata.
I forgot. but yeah, I do think it's that. It's whatever the real way to say it is
not- But
not
That's
the
what's
right
so
way.
Not the correct
confusing
way,
about
yeah.
it to me.
They made the wrong choice.
Anyway,
And I refuse to acknowledge it.
that Nier game, God of War, Monster Hunter World, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Resident Evil 2 Remake, The Last Guardian, and Devil May Cry 5. In true Killer Babies fashion, everybody will get one shield. We will go round robin style.
My list doesn't have Resident Evil Remake on it.
Well, Resident Evil Remake will be on there.
Is on there. Okay.
Yep.
Resident Evil 2 remake?
Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't have
Resident
that
Evil
either.
Remake was not in this decade.
And yours has Outer Wilds, right?
Mine has.
Mine has
Did I
Outer
not
Wilds
say
on
Outer
it.
Wilds? Okay, we'll put Outer Wilds on there. All right, so Ian, I'm going to start with you.
Oh boy. So we're doing classic rules, right? We
Yes.
each just kill something.
You just kill something, and then you get one shield.
Last Guardian.
I really like Last Guardian, but I'm not going to use my shield on it. Will Bloodworth? Will we get a shield at the first pick?
No, I'll save that.
Last Guardian is the first casualty.
Ah.
Easy Allies gave you the year 2016.
16.
Mistakes were
16.
made. We used a flawed voting system.
No,
It's a
if
good game.
anything, it was just the fact that we're still in December.
Blood, you got to
so
kill.
not everyone really had a
True.
fair shake at it because that was a December
Either
game,
way,
I
a
think.
flawed
You
flawed
gotta
goatee.
you gotta kill something.
I mean, you put us into this mess. I'm going Bayonetta 2.
Blood. No. Okay. Oh.
You put us in this mess. He
That
says.
was brutal, and now we are enemies in this game. You did this, Bloodworth.
You did this.
Really,
Yeah,
I did this.
Yeah, there you go. You really Ian.
By
did this.
inventing the format.
I don't know if I want to use my shield on Bayonetta 2, but I also do. There are too many precious things for me here. I'm bad at Killer Babies.
Well, you made a list that you care too much about.
Well, I just cared too much about all games. This feels bad. I will let it. I have to. Blood. All right, so now I have to come after Blood. What would Blood care about the most on? Oh, Witcher 3. You don't even think this is right, but this is a
just
vindictive
spite
pick.
now.
Yeah, this is
It's
just
all
spite.
just spite.
Witcher 3.
I'll put the shield up. I'll put the shield up.
Wow.
We got the shield.
Oh.
We got the shield.
All right.
I regret
Blood,
it, but I'll put it
Blood
up.
Shield. All right,
My turn then.
your turn.
All right, time to start being just kind of realistic.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were gonna be, but then Blood went for the jugular.
I'll go XCOM 2.
Ooh.
I like it. I love that game, but I don't think it's gonna make it the whole way.
I don't think it's gonna make it. I don't think it's gonna make it the whole way either. I don't think it deserves to be cut this early, but there are other things I'm gonna use my shield on. Brutal. Goodbye, XCOM 2.
I have really never understood the affinity for Spelunky, so I'm going for that.
You
Brutal.
never understood
Brutal,
this affinity. Have you played it?
I have tried it a time or two.
It wouldn't have made it all the way.
It wouldn't have made it all the way.
Good game though. Should try it out.
Yeah, maybe I just need to do it with somebody or something.
It's fun multiplayer. Yeah.
All right, now that I've had revenge, I'm gonna go back to my more realistic style. I don't think Skyrim's making it.
Sure.
I celebrate its demise.
Not gonna go that far. But
I
Oh my
dance
gosh.
on its corpse. Eat that comment section.
yum,
Yum. Num 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 num.
yum. All right.
I mean,
I love how this game, because like I entered the mindset of this game being like, oh, let's try to actually pick the best decade, but then other people's decisions change your emotions.
Yeah, Kill Your Baby's not a great system for finding an actual best
Yeah,
thing.
this is not a real editorial decision.
No, yeah.
Audience.
I'll say this is a weird one. No, I'll wait for that. Nier Automata.
I am going to use my shield.
Whoa! On Nier
Whoa.
Automata?
Yeah. I think that
Sorry, Nier Automata?
that Nier game is pretty special, and I
didn't think
I
you'd
don't
shield
think it
that.
should be. I don't. There were other things I wanted to shield, but I
Wow.
really I think in honor of that game
Now neither of you have
and the
shields
cool things
anymore.
that it does with its story and the way that it presents itself, it deserves a shield. But my shield is gone.
Well, you know, it's funny. I'm gonna.
Wait, can't you technically just like have the?
I'm gonna.
He can just kill
I'm
it
gonna
right
play
now.
the audience. I'm gonna go for GTA 5 because I don't think that this is the room.
This is not the room for.
This is
GTA
not the
5.
room.
I
This is not the-
appreciate the actual contribution GTA 5 has
Right.
made to this industry, but it is not my game.
This is not the way.
Yeah.
Shit.
Kill Your Babies doesn't make any friends. Nobody's thrilled by any decision.
In a lot of ways, I think this game is really magical, but I also am okay with. Oh, you know what? There's another cut. I'm gonna cut Overwatch.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. It wouldn't have made it. Oh,
Man, I'm out of
boy.
a shield.
Here we go.
Damn it.
Here we go. Now things are getting weird.
Yeah.
How about this? All right, how about this? Hear me out.
Hearing
I
me.
love this game.
Listening.
No, I can't do it twice in one episode.
Uh,
I'll have to cut. I was gonna say PT, but that's killing Silent Hill twice in one episode. I'm not gonna do it.
I mean,
Because it's not a full.
Right.
PT is not gonna make it on for those sorts of reasons.
All right, I'll do PT.
Yeah.
Just because it's
great.
It's beautiful and it was an amazing
It's
moment
great.
in all of our lives.
We didn't get to see its true potential.
But we didn't. Yeah, it only hurts, really.
Yeah.
So I did kill Silent Hill twice in one episode. I'm a monster. I'm trapped in my own version of Silent Hill.
Ian is the only one with a shield left, and we have most of the list.
Y'all played yourselves.
We did
Y'all
play
played
ourselves.
yourselves.
This is only out of sheer ignorance, but I'll go Divinity.
No! It deserves. Oh no! There are so many other things before Divinity. So many, and I can't do anything about it. This is wrong. I'm gonna cut The Witness.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's okay. It hurts. Every one of these is going to hurt now.
I'm starting. The hard thing is now without the cross offs. So I go, okay, what?
Yeah, it's we're having to keep it all in
Oh
our memory.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to go.
You can like copy it on a notepad and then like delete or
Delete
something.
'em?
Yeah.
I'm
It's an imperfect system.
I'm pretty able to remember them, I think. I'm going to cut just because I haven't played it and I don't think it'll make it to the end. Nothing personal. But Yakuza 0? I'm sorry.
There are other things I would cut before it, but I can't stop you.
Did we skip Ben?
No, I cut The Witness.
He cut the
Oh,
witness.
that's right. Okay. Man, I'm like, it's my turn again. Crap.
Yeah.
I am so happy that Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen has made it this far.
Don't talk about it.
Don't talk.
Don't talk. Blood forgot it was on the list.
Shh. You're right. I shouldn't have said anything.
Damn it.
Doomed us.
Our precious baby.
Yeah, now things are hard.
It is funny though.
Yeah. We acknowledge the magic, the special magic of that game.
You know, maybe it was right to get my shield out of the way because, like, now I have
Right.
because of the rules of the game, I have to accept my fate.
Yeah. It's better psychologically
Yeah,
for you, probably.
Yeah, it probably is. Just use the first thing that you can say is shield,
Shield. I'm Ben Moore. Shield.
Yeah, this doesn't feel great, but Hollow Knight.
Oof.
Ugh, I know.
No, No!
God,
Come
why?
on! That's Blood. Why do you insist on being wrong? Oh, that. No.
What's
That
beautiful?
would be like a winner.
What's beautiful about this, Ben, is like I think you'll have that reaction to almost all of
Everything
these
that's
games.
left, yeah.
Like, okay, all right, but
It's Ben's
It's funny
turn,
because
right?
I'm like trying to like be merciful, but it
Yeah.
doesn't help.
There's no merciful
I
way
don't-
to do this.
yeah, I get you. I think you're trying to be nice. Hollow Knight hurts extra hard.
Like if we were actually trying to do this list, I estimate Hollow Knight could have gotten into like the top 10 probably.
I think it could have gotten into the top 5.
But I don't know if it would have won. So who knows? Hard to say. I'm glad we don't have to rank these.
Yeah,
In a real way.
It would be.
Whose turn is it? Ben's turn?
It's my turn.
Okay.
Whew. Whew.
I've got my next cut.
Are we going all the way to 1 on this?
Yeah, baby.
Oh,
I am
gosh.
going to, and it doesn't feel good, but I'm going to cut Portal 2.
That's all right. It's okay. Nothing personal. It's nothing personal. I'll cut Red Dead Redemption.
I really like Red Dead Redemption. I see why you would cut
I
it.
like Red Dead Redemption as well. I loved Red Dead Redemption 1.
Okay.
Loved it.
Okay.
Loved it.
Okay. Okay.
But it's not my pony. Not one of my ponies on this list. Plus, I mean, we're getting down to it. Almost.
We are. There are things that I'm surprised are still on here. Blood over here. The destroyer of worlds.
Right. Come on.
Destroyer of worlds.
Maybe Dragon Quest.
No.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
I kind of don't.
You just
It's
don't
true.
know.
This is kind of true.
I don't know either.
I started it. I didn't get very far.
All right. This is weird. Because I really like this game a lot, but I just don't know that I necessarily like it more than other things on this list. Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but it ain't going to make it up against these bad boys. All right, now things are getting really hard for me. Well, there's one that I would have cut. I can cut this without any hesitation.
I know what it is.
But I don't want to hurt you guys. I don't want to hurt you, Ben.
But like this game is about hurting us.
Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Oh, that's actually not what I thought. Okay, that's
okay.
not.
Oh,
like
really? Okay.
I don't agree, but
I'm curious what you thought I was going to say.
yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't pick
I
this.
can kind of go with that.
That's not. Yeah, it's really not what I thought it was going to be. But I'm not going to say its name.
So that you don't just feed me my next turn.
Yeah, because you definitely will go for this one.
Well, I mean, I can think of a couple you're probably thinking of here, yeah. I'm not cutting these because I want to.
Right.
You know? I'm not
You
cutting
kind of
these.
do.
Smash. I mean, I was all right with
Kind
it.
of
I was all right.
hook rat.
Hook ratting it. Yeah, I was hook ratting. I'll hook rat Skyrim and Smash Ultimate. I'll hook rat them right off the stage. But whatever. Doesn't mean they're bad. You know,
It's just
Like what
like
you
it's
want.
just like you're holding a gun to its head and you go. Doesn't mean that it's bad.
doesn't mean it's bad.
I got blood on my face. Doesn't mean it's bad.
You should watch The Outsider, dude.
Yeah.
That show's
I
crazy.
think I canceled my HBO Now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones
I'll
will
have to
do
pick
that
it up
to you.
sometime.
Well,
Just
no,
to-
I finished Watchmen. It's like,
Watchmen was great.
yeah. I need
although I
to
do
pick
wanna
it up
watch
for a month and
Chernobyl as
get.
well.
I still have to watch that, too.
I need to pick it up and get through the last Silicon Valley.
Never jumped on that train.
Never did.
Oh
either.
yeah, I like
I believe
that
it's
show.
good. I believe it's good.
I don't think it's gonna make it too much further. So Last of Us.
Whoa! I did not expect that coming from one of you guys.
I Well, I expected it. I didn't think it was gonna make it, but
Again,
I've learned
it's-
my lesson. I don't. I'm done.
you don't touch it.
I don't give a shit anymore. Just leave it alone. I don't care.
Fuck. These are like
Man, I love Kill Your Baby.
these are like some of my
It's
favorite
so
things.
messed up.
Ooh. All right. Can I cut God of War?
That's 2018, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that sucks, but sure.
You're the only one that can stop me, Ian.
I know, and
I feel
have
like
to-
you're only saving your shields for one thing that will probably win.
that would be delightful. It's my turn.
It's your turn.
I'm doing your advice. I've put it into a notepad, and I'm
Yeah.
deleting the thing because it was starting to get a little hairy.
Sure.
I was pretty sure I remembered all of them, but all right. Let's see here. So
Oh man, I hope something wild wins this.
yeah, sometimes it's you don't expect. Let's see here. Here's the thing.
It's getting harder.
It's getting harder, dude. This is getting hard. Okay, so like, are we playing the Kyle continuum way of doing this, where killing a prequel kills every other game after it too?
No, no.
Okay, then just I gotta cut Doom.
Again, you keep I'm surprised.
But Doom Eternal can still happen.
No. There's
Sure,
just
yeah.
things that
I keep forgetting it's on the list because it's not on our list. But
Oh, the Resident Evil 2 remake.
the Resident Evil 2 remake. I think I'll go with it. Compared to some of these others we got left.
It's time.
I really like. I mean, it's also recency bias. I mean, I really like it, but it's going against some of the greatest of all time.
Refresh my memory. Bayonetta and Witcher are both gone, right?
Bayonetta and Witcher are both gone.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna cut out
Wait.
of Wilds.
No, Witcher was shielded.
Oh, you shielded it.
Oh no, I'm sorry. You're totally right. Bayonetta is gone. Thank you for the correction. That's very
Yes.
important. Witcher is not gone.
And you just axed Outer Wilds.
I axed Outer Wilds.
That hurts. That hurts. That one hurts. Overwatch is gone.
Overwatch is already gone. Yep.
Okay. Run down what's left for the audience at home.
Yeah,
It's
because
always
I
nice
think
to-
with that Witcher thing, I made it even more confusing. So we will do a full rundown of what's left at this point. Bloodborne, Witcher 3, Breath of the Wild, Mass Effect 2, Super Mario Galaxy 2, A Dark Souls,
A Dark Souls.
Dragon's Dogma, The Dark Arisen.
Shh.
You wanted me to say them.
I know.
Persona 5. Near game.
Near 2.
Near 2. Monster Hunter World. Devil May Cry 5.
Okay. Whose turn is it?
It's your turn.
Oh,
'Cause
God.
I killed Outer Wilds.
Okay. Trying to gauge the room, too. I will say, and I love this game personally, but of these... well, I mean, out of respect for you, I don't want to re-kill something I killed already, even though I could. It's down for me between two titles on this that I would kill first. And I think for me personally, it would have to be Persona 5.
I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
I don't think I don't think Persona 5 was going to make it to the end.
Nah.
This is a really hilarious Kill Your Babies. Because, to me anyway, of what's left.
These are all just bombshell games.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't speak because I don't want. I don't. They're
Yeah,
I want everything to survive.
Dragon's Dogma, I think, at this point.
I shouldn't have even been saying what I was saying because it made it that far.
You know what? It made it that
It's an
far.
honor to be nominated.
It's an honor to be. Dragon's Dogma.
Yeah.
What is that? Top 8? What was that? Top 9?
Pretty
Pretty
I don't
good.
have a number next to it.
Pretty good for Dragon's
Yeah,
Dogma.
that was a basic. It was a hell of a run. That was an interception.
That was top 10. It was in the top 10.
That's
it was 10th.
I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, it was number 10.
Oh, it's my turn.
Yeah, it got killed at number 10. So we're in the top 9 now. That was the top 10.
Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Yeah,
Ugh. Okay.
I know.
it feels bad, but yeah.
I don't even know if I agree with me.
Right.
All right, so now I guess we have to get into just like our own.
Yeah.
We can't play the room anymore. We just
Well,
have to cut what we want
It's
to
weird.
cut.
Yeah, because if we were playing the room, then
Yeah, well,
we got messed up in the early rounds.
yeah. Ben, I got to do it. I said I wouldn't the last turn, but when it comes down between,
Yeah.
I got to do Nier Automata.
Oh, again, that's not what I expected. There's one that, like, I'm amazed that you haven't cut yet.
I didn't even finish the one you're thinking of, and I liked it more than Nier Automata.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If
All
I'm
right.
thinking of the one you're thinking of.
Blood, it's your turn.
Is that Devil May Cry 5?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I
I
was-
think maybe it's time for Devil May Cry 5.
It doesn't have to be.
I love that you're cutting the ones that so I don't have to.
Blood is choosing to be the villain.
Yeah. He's the villain we need.
But I think it is one of those things where you say, like, stuff that came out this year, it's hard to
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
keep it.
is.
Yeah.
It's just a game.
So we're down to Bloodborne, Witcher 3, Breath of the Wild, Mass Effect 2, Dark Souls, and Monster Hunter World. This is insane.
It's a bad list for Ben.
This is a bad list for all of us.
3
of my favorite damn games are on this list.
I guess I will pick Mass Effect 2.
Yeah. That's the correct choice, I think, out of these.
Well, now we're out of correct choices.
Now we're
Now we're out of
it's only
correct
wrong
choices.
choices.
Yep.
Oh God, there's a very easy choice for me, but I don't want to stir the beast over here. I don't want to piss Blood off.
I mean, I agree with Blood. It was just a revenge pick, really.
Of these though, I'm staring down my favorite games.
Yeah, you're staring down the barrel of a
I
gun.
gotta kill Witcher 3. I'm sorry.
Ah.
I'm sorry, Blood.
Blood
I'm
can't
sorry.
do anything about it.
Hey, it was top 5.
It's an honor to be nominated.
Honor be nominated.
I mean, for me now, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where it's like, there's one odd man out here, and it's Monster Hunter.
There are no odd men out here, Bloodworth.
for personal.
I don't even have like anything left to get back at you with. Oh, it's me.
It's you, dude. We got Bloodborne, Breath of the Wild, and Dark Souls.
That's it? Is it top 3 now?
That top 3.
Oh, gosh.
Bloodborne.
Shield.
I knew you were gonna shield. I knew this was gonna happen.
But
I knew
now
you were
what-
saving your shield for Bloodborne.
Yeah. But now, dude.
But now it's your turn.
Oh God, why are you making me do this? All right,
Oh no, that means I have the last pick.
I'm gonna. This is the worst kill your baby's choice I've ever had to make.
You're gonna do it.
I'm gonna kill Breath of the Wild.
Oh, I thought you were gonna kill Dark
Oh
Souls.
gosh.
No, because I think Bloodworth would save Breath of the Wild.
Well, he
I
can't.
can't save anything.
No, but I mean like, well, whatever.
Oh, you mean when I pick? Okay.
It's between Bloodborne and Dark Souls.
I think I gotta go Bloodborne.
You're killing Bloodborne?
Yeah.
Damn it, Bloodborne. God. I'm not mad though. Still pretty good.
Pretty good. Still pretty good.
Still pretty good.
So, according to this Kill Your Babies, Dark Souls is the game of the decade.
There you go. You can stop asking us now.
I didn't want to say anything, but Kyle and I already did this. We determined officially that Bloodborne was the best game of the decade on a recent
You
episode.
can't undermine the results.
I'm just saying. I'm
You
just
can't
this is
undermine the
Kill Your
results.
Babies results.
You can't do it.
The official Easy
It's
Alice.
time for emails.
Why though? Why Bloodborne over Dark Souls?
Why Dark Souls over Bloodborne?
Why
you mean?
keep
You
Dark
keep
Souls?
trying to
no.
undermine
Why
the
kill
results.
Bloodborne over Dark Souls? Just curious, honestly, for you,
I just
because you didn't
I've
finish
liked-
Bloodborne.
True, but yeah, I don't know. I like Dark Souls more. I just
Hey, fair enough.
I mean, I
Can't argue
just-
with that.
It's weird because
I think it, and also like I know even though there was Demon Souls, I think Dark Souls is really like where it just like
I agree.
came out full force,
I
and
agree.
especially with the world design.
It's the granddaddy of all
I
of them.
think
it
Dark
feels like.
Souls was kind of like a moment of the decade for me.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I think Bloodborne in a lot of ways is a better and more consistent game, but
the
I
zeitgeist.
never felt better than playing Dark Souls and having like that like video game community awakening and just
Yeah.
everybody talking about it. It was
I've
very
never
special.
fallen in love with a game so completely and so quickly as with Dark Souls.
Yeah. So it's weird. That's not necessarily great criteria, but our first email comes in from Morgan. Dear panel, I have the hardest time putting together a reliable squad in games. This locks me out of content I really want to experience, including the heists of GTA Online, the raids in Destiny, or even picking up The Division or Monster Hunter World. I have tried to play with randoms only to be left frustrated and disappointed. Using the mic and trying to talk to other players doesn't seem to help either, as I am often met with hostility and vulgarities for no reason. Upon reflection, I believe the system is utterly broken. Some of the best content in games requires that I have 3 to 5 friends who own the same console. Not in the case of Destiny, own the same game. We can all commit 5 hours at the same time with solid, uninterrupted connections. I am on the verge of writing this type of gaming off altogether because for the past 5 years it has never worked out for me. Am I missing something? Is this something that developers could improve or make more accessible? Any tips for the situation? Any help is greatly appreciated. I think it's a good email.
I think we're getting there with stuff like the being able to like point at things without talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like the
Right.
more you can just shut off the mic.
Like you can play Vermintide without a mic fairly effectively, I'd say.
Right. I do get this frustration.
I fully get this.
Yeah, I think this is a very understandable situation. The problem that I have that Morgan probably doesn't have is like just in general, like Kyle, I kind of just enjoy being on my own. Like I'm
Me
kind of
too.
a lone wolf. Like I go out of my way to avoid interaction. I feel like sometimes not that I don't enjoy it or I haven't had great moments, but I'm a very introverted person, and so I just get in a lot of times in moods where it's just like I just want to play games by myself, which is not probably the case here. But what I would recommend, what is a powerful tool, is Discord.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect. You may run into groups that you don't like or people that you don't like or whatever, but it's probably better than just like hopping online and hoping that you're going to randomly pair up with somebody.
And like you're already part of an Easy Allies community.
Right.
And I would wager a guess that you have a high chance of finding people in this community that would want to play with you
Right.
in any of these games that won't resort to vulgarities.
Right, yeah, and the Easy Allies community has been wonderful for that. Like pretty much anything, whether it's Monster Hunter or Destiny or like a fighting game or The Division, like I would try reaching out. Not to like it sounds very like pat yourself on the back, but I think my experience with this community, and I think I've seen a lot of other people's experiences with this community have been positive.
and like I'm similar to you, Ben, where like I don't play online games unless I can line up friends to play them with me.
Right.
Because I just don't like, same as Morgan, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty sure I know who that is, but I don't like playing with random people either because it's scary and weird and like feels odd, and I don't want to let people down like that I can't explain myself to or be, like no will give me the benefit of the doubt if I'm sucking.
It can feel like a weird sort of pressure.
Yeah. But like the nice thing with the Easy Allies community is I only play with friends, but I've met people through this community that I consider friends enough that I've played with.
Right.
And it's really fun, It's good.
Yeah. I guess my main barrier is my timing is just terrible with all of that kind of thing. Like either I'm playing a game before release and nobody else is out there,
Yeah.
or
Or
yeah,
it's 4 a.m. everywhere on the planet Earth.
yeah, weird times for sure that I end up playing. Because just in general, like I just end up not starting to play games most of the time until like after 9 p.m. or so.
I think that another problem that I've had that I've come to accept is I just want to play too much often that like I'm not going to experience the raids in a lot of things, and that definitely bums me out because like even just doing the Destiny 2 raid that we did, it was amazing. It was so much fun, but you gotta make a choice. Like, and I feel like you will find more people the more committed you are to something.
Right.
Where if you play this at the cost of other things and you really kind of work through the awkwardness of it, you will eventually find, the more time you give something, the better your chances.
Yeah,
For sure.
one of the funny things I run into, I feel like more than even people tossing vulgarity is I tend to get those guys that just sort of have the mic on.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not talking, but you just hear things.
Yes. Oh, yes.
You just hear people screaming in the room or like music somehow coming over.
That doesn't
Yeah.
happen to me in any other game more than it happens in Call of Duty, where like you will just like hear somebody who has their mic on listening to music or like getting into a conversation
with someone
somebody
else.
Yeah.
It's just like,
kinda
turn your
here-
mic off, dude.
hilarious.
Oh, we actually like had like a copyright thing on one of our videos once because
Really?
like Ariana Grande was blasting over somebody else's mic. And it was like,
Couldn't mute him fast enough.
yeah.
Thank you. Next. Our next email comes in from Brandon. Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Hi.
Around the beginning of every year, many look to create a fresh start for themselves to improve something they are unhappy with. There are many games that could do with and wish for a new start also. So I wanted to ask you, allies, what singular game or large franchise do you wish could get that fresh start? While the likes of Anthem and Fallout may immediately jump to mind, less recent ones can apply as well. Silent Hill, Mass Effect, and Burnout to just name a few. Thank you for taking my submission. If you do, and stay easy, fellow allies.
First thing that came to mind was Pokemon. But then when they mentioned Silent Hill, I was like, oh, maybe that.
Yeah.
Especially since it was recently erased from existence twice by yours truly.
I would just really like to see what a new Dino Crisis game looks like.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one where it's been so long that like anything you do
That'd be
now,
sick,
like
yeah.
it's divorced from whatever, like just essentially everything but the base concept.
Would you mean like a RE2 style remake or just like do a new one?
I feel like in a way they would both kind of amount to the same
They
thing.
amount to the same
Yeah.
thing.
There was another one that I had in my head that I would really like a Dead Space to get a new fresh start. Dead Space is too good to let it wither the way that it has. It's disgusting. Stop. Do something with it. Give it to talented people. Let them blossom. Dead Space is very frustrating.
Metroid's probably hopefully getting an update.
Yeah.
4, so that's taken care of. Castlevania, all Konami property. Konami as a company, can we?
Right.
Yeah.
All Konami
Suikoden,
properties.
right?
Yeah, Suikoden,
Oh.
Metal Gear,
Yeah.
Castlevania, Silent Hill, all of them. A new
It just
Suikoden would
feels
be
bad when you put
freaking
them out in a
crazy.
list like that. Like it feels bad when you just say one, but when they're all together.
Konami
Yeah.
used to be my favorite gaming company.
Yeah, understandably so.
Like some of my favorite games of all time are Konami
Hey,
games.
some of my favorite games of all time are Konami games.
I've got a weird
world
one.
we live in.
I've got a weird one.
Hit me.
Chibi Robo.
Whoa.
Oh, sure. That's a good one.
Because
That's
that
a good one.
first game had some really cool ideas
Yeah.
and stuff, but it is clunky. It is kind of like if you go back, like I saw Kyle streaming it, and I don't think he even enjoyed it. He might not have finished the game because he got sick of it, But there's like a lot of kind of repetitiveness and punishing you for like simple mistakes and stuff like that.
I'm not even a Chibi Robo
But-
fan, but I would be interested in it getting a new start.
Yeah,
Like I want to be.
yeah. There's something about that character and that style of humor and everything that you were trying to do in that first game that was really cool. That even though they had all these sequels and spin-offs, like never really quite came back.
The Star Wars Rogue Squadron games deserve more. They deserve more.
How about this? Same question, but kind of flipped. Which series that did get a coat of new paint do you think did it the best? And why?
Did it the best?
And why was it God of War?
What would you like to end?
And why was it God of War?
I mean, can you think of a better example than God of War 2018? Like coming in and like whole new coat of paint.
A better example?
That was the best one I could think of.
I mean, it's great because it's like it not only does it totally reinvent itself, but it does it in a way that doesn't
dishonor the past.
Everything else,
Yeah. It was beautiful.
I'm not gonna say it's a better game than God of War 2018 because I don't believe that, but I really like RE2 Remake a lot.
Oh,
a lot.
If you're gonna do it, you could do a lot worse. Although it is weird, I wish that the B story factored in the way it used to more. But whatever.
Yeah,
that's like literally my only complaint. It's like basically perfect otherwise.
I think Breath of the Wild was a new coat of paint.
Yeah,
that was pretty
for sure.
Yeah,
really good.
Yeah, spectacular even.
Like a 10.
Like a 10.
I would say maybe.
Maybe it didn't get that, but
frame rate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's get another high five going.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so easy to say that when you're not in that position.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Right. Well, and also,
When the one actually giving the score, I mean.
Yeah.
All right, next email.
Yeah. Pull up.
This comes in from Wick. 2020, the best year in video game history?
Since 97.
I think I said Wick, and I meant to say Rick. It came out weird.
I
was like, Wick, cool.
nice.
Rick Williams.
Wick sounds like a cool like fantasy character.
Hey, allies. I'm high on hype. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I've been looking at all of the upcoming games for 2020 to compare it to previous years to see just how big 2020 really is / could be. One of the first obvious notes is that more games are in development by more studios than ever before. To give you an idea, here are some of the highlights. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Neo 2, Animal Crossing New Horizons. I mean, there are a lot of great games coming out. And that's not including the possibility of Halo Infinite, Hellblade 2, The Pathless, Everwild, Elden Ring.
Yeah, Pathless.
There are a lot of games he lists here. I named approximately 35 games here and could genuinely see any of them being up for Game of the Year 2020 or 2021. This is by far the year with the most games I'm anticipating and plan on playing. It feels unprecedented. I'm very excited, hopeful, and scared for my wallet. But my question for all of you is simple. Will 2020 be the best year in video game history?
I think back to this time last year, 2019, and we thought 2019 was going to be the greatest. Like, because most of these games were supposed to come out in 2019, you know?
Right.
And I mean, like, I think there is a way higher chance, obviously, of most of these actually hitting this year. But like, you always have to temper your hype, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think it could be the best game, but I'm not going to say will for two reasons. Any year where you have the launch of the next generation of consoles, even if the year is really amazing with games, I think however those are received will kind of play into your perception of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unavoidably so.
Weird launch titles.
Or for me anyway.
Yeah.
The other thing is, like, with all of these things, there are a number of things that if they are disappointing, it'll put a really bad taste in. Like,
if Cyberpunk doesn't deliver, like,
well, if like Half-Life
Alyx
doesn't deliver,
yeah, like the whole industry's gonna like destroy itself. It feels like at this point.
Yeah, it's just
you know?
It's just because there are so many potentially amazing things. I think any one of them being disappointing could be rough.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it could be, which is exciting.
That's the thing. Like, I want it to be. I want every year to be the best year in gaming, but like this one really has a shot at it. But it's like. The fastest way to hate a thing and be disappointed is to have a huge amount of hype about it.
Yeah, and I think just the way that gaming has gone has been really beneficial because I feel like there were these huge drought periods.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because this is my job, but I never feel it. Like, I always have something to play.
Right.
So,
It's like a light month here and there instead of like a light 6.
but even when it's a light month, there's so much buildup that I have something to
Right.
chip away at.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm in no rush to jump on a new game right now.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I'm always in a rush to jump on a game.
No, I mean, I can't wait for that game. It's
Sure.
like, no, I'm playing this right now. So, yeah.
I'm feeling pretty caught up.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I want to try Pathologic 2 now.
Yeah,
someone was
I really want to try
Hyping that up
Pathologic
in
2.
chat, and I was like, that sounds really interesting.
The
Looking
frustrating
forward
thing
to
about
the-
Pathologic 2 is I want to give it like a lot of time.
Yeah.
It is funny to think about weird launch lineups. Like right now, it's like it's hard for me to picture it getting weird. I just feel like we're just gonna get another one. You know, in terms of the consoles, it's like we're just gonna get another one, and the games that are coming out are just gonna come out on that. But like usually, there's weird like the PS4. It was like the best game for a while was Resogun.
Right, right.
Hey.
There was like 7 months of like doldrums, right?
Loco Cycle.
Yeah,
Loco Cycle.
exactly.
I never played
man.
that.
Launch games are going to be weird.
And then just the fact that launch just covering it sucks.
It does.
Well, that's the weird thing with
One
this.
system and 10, 12 games and 9 people. And it's like, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
I'm
Just camp out here,
unless
take turns?
Unless life prevents me, I'm buying both those suckers.
Right, but I mean before launch.
I've got
Oh,
a PC, so
Yeah.
you're kind of set on Series X, right? You have a PC.
We'll see.
PC.
Whoa!
I don't think everything is coming to PC, right? Like
Isn't that the promise of Xbox? I mean, I'm probably wrong. I don't know.
everything's
didn't they
coming to
say
Game
everything's
Pass.
day
I
and
don't
date?
know that
Yeah, I
everything
don't
is
know.
coming to PC.
I
You
guess
can play it right now.
we'll find out.
You
Yeah.
can play Halo Infinite right now.
With new Cloud X time warp technology.
That's going to do it for Frame Trap.
Whoa.
I don't want to cut you off. Sorry. Did you have more to say?
I just forgot that this show ends.
I don't know if that's a dig or not. But we're going to pretend like you were having such a great
I
time.
had a blast. I was having a blast.
Yeah. I was having a blast too. Blood, were you having a blast?
Oh yeah.
It's really
You-
hot in here, so Bloodworth
What?
is comfortable.
You
Yeah,
murderer.
I am. My hands
You-
are actually still a little cool. It's so funny.
Oh my God, Bloodworth.
No,
Take some blood pills or fewer blood pills.
What?
I don't know.
I really did have a blast.
I'm not a doctor.
That is, there's no exaggeration there. I had a great time. Thank you so much to my panelists, Ian Hink and Daniel Bloodworth. If you want to get more of them, you can follow them at Ian Hink and at D Bloodworth too.
Yeah.
To get more of.
I might put up another Sekiro clip or two. Who knows?
D Bloodworth 4 was
You might
taken.
get that hot excitement. If you want to send an email to Ask Easy Allies to get our takes on it, the email address is askeasyallies@gmail.com. One more time, that is askeasyallies@gmail.com. You want to see more of what we're doing, the best place to go is patreon.com/easyallies, where you can support us to keep this amazing thing and more things coming. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Until next time.